15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
You know, congratulations all around. Brock Purdy, 49ers, deal gets done earlier than most deals get done for the 49ers, and Brock's now going to be a very, very rich man. 5 years, $265 million, Perloff. Something tells me Brock Purdy's weekend just a little bit better than yours.
Oh, I mean, I had a great weekend. Money can't buy you happiness, Maggie.
Well, it can make your life easier. Brock's about to get much, much easier off the field, but on the field, it's actually going to get harder. And here's a couple things about the Brock Purdy contract, which, listen, again, I'll give kudos, as Joe Beningo says, kudos to the people for getting it done, not making it an off-season distraction like we've seen the 49ers do so many times. Kudos is my favorite. But Brock has now gone into a different stratosphere as far as quarterbacks and the expectations. The Cinderella story is over. There was a time when Tom Brady stopped being a sixth-round pick and when Kurt Warner stopped being the guy who was bagging groceries, and all of a sudden it became less about your origin story and more about what are you actually going to do on the field. So Brock is Mr. Irrelevant. That's gone when you're a top 5 highest paid quarterback in the league. Now you're going to be expected when things aren't perfect that you're going to have to lift the team, carry the team at times. I'm not saying anyone does it alone on a football field, but the expectations are definitely going to be bigger because the margin for error is now slimmer when a guy goes from making $1 million, and he was very underpaid, to now $53 million a year on average.
I felt like we kind of killed Brock Purdy last year, though. When he struggled when everybody was out. I don't think there was any Mr. Irrelevant discount. Everyone was like, because he threw, I have the stats, 20 touchdowns and 12 picks, and everyone was destroying him, saying, oh, you're no good when all those other guys aren't out there. I don't remember anyone saying, oh, you're Mr. Irrelevant. It's okay if you struggle when no one's out there. I felt like he raised those expectations 2 years ago.
Well, I think you're going to get more of a microscope this year because they were coming off a Super Bowl overtime, gut-wrenching loss to the Chiefs. So maybe say, all right, they lost Ayuk and McCaffrey was out and Trent Williams got to camp late.
That's easy now. We were destroying them during the year.
Well, but here's the thing, because the expectations were high, because it seemed like they were going all in again.
Yeah.
And now they're doing this like mini reset or whatever. They're still handing out contracts to make Kittle the highest paid tight end. McCaffrey's supposed to be back and healthy, Ayuk, Pearsall, whatever. But I think you looked at all the things off the field, too, that happened with the 49ers, and it just felt like the team was doomed, cursed, whatever you want to say from the very beginning of the offseason. That's no longer in play, and there's going to be some of the bigger things when you are now in the company and you are getting higher and more guaranteed money than Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying you're expected to be the guy they are, but you're expected to, have everything going right for you, even when things aren't going right for the team. And I'm talking about the things that have plagued Brock Purdy, which is questions he still has to answer, playing in bad weather, playing when, things aren't awesome around you. Brock gets dinged up a lot too, and you can see it on the field because he doesn't have that elite arm strength or that elite size. So when he does get banged up, it can look a little bit different than some of the other guys. These are just things that are now going to be part of Brock Purdy's reality. Of course, he would never, you'll take the money. He deserves it. But it just got a lot harder for the 49ers to win a Super Bowl. Like you asked, did they get closer to a Lombardi trophy now, or are they further away? The answer is further away because when a guy's taking up like 0.0001% of your salary cap versus about 19% of your salary cap, it's just different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think on Friday morning versus Friday afternoon they changed anything because they'd already acted as if they were paying the contract. They let a bunch of old guys go. They let a bunch of actually medium-aged guys go. So they had already they were working all off season towards the seal. I'm painting a different narrative than you are. You're saying there's pressure to win now, and you mentioned the other big price quarterbacks.
Yeah,
this is a relatively team-friendly deal. Now, listen, a lot of people thought that they should try to offer him $45 million a year compared to Dax at the high end was $60 million. Then you get the sort of Tua's around 53. Like, with the cap going up, this is not a killer deal, and he did it early. He probably came in just a little bit under market because he's, the seventh highest quarterback now. In 2 years, he'll be 15th or 16th.
Seventh highest in terms of average annual value.
Right,
Fifth highest in terms of total. And if he hits all the guarantees, which Albert Breer, our pal, says it's very easy for him to hit the $181 million, he'll be the second most guaranteed money after Deshaun Watson.
Right, but in 2 or 3 years, he'll be 14th, 15th among average salary. So they know, I think basically Purdy could have played a little more hardball and gotten this number up, but both sides, they kind of know what this is. So this number didn't kill me at all. I was like, okay, 53.
Yeah.
The cap has gone up this year. This is, they now have him 6 years. He gave him a no trade. I don't know about that. But basically, this is okay. Now, I don't feel it as Birdie better deliver. I feel like the Niners know their assignment. They better draft well. So the teams that pay quarterbacks, the key to getting to the Super Bowl is you really draft well, like the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City
Chiefs. They drafted 11 guys this year.
And it feels
it's a huge draft class.
And I feel like the 49ers might have drafted pretty well. I'm telling you, I'm a little more high on this team than I think most people are. And even the picture you painted, Brock Purdy's an imperfect quarterback. All that is true. I'm not disagreeing with it. But we know he can lead this team pretty far if he stays healthy. And I think they're actually going to be a little better than everyone else. Everyone's down on them a little bit after last year. It makes sense.
Right.
And they lost a lot of guys. I think they got a lot of guys back, and they got Robert Saleh on defense. To me, if that defense comes back, Brock Purdy and George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall, they're fine. The offense is going to be fine. You have Kyle Shanahan calling plays. To me, the bigger concern is defense, which has been falling off steadily. They have a lot of guys they lost. They got to pay Fred Warner now. So I think actually the formula is still there for the Niners. I think this is the same team we've seen since their first Super Bowl run in 2019.
Can I paint another picture for you, which is, yes, while this is the sort of, I don't want to say mini rebuild, you still have stars everywhere on this 49er team, even though they came in last in the division last year because of all that bad luck we talked about. And we're talking about Brock Purdy's contract. This season feels like this could be the year because they're playing a last place in the NFC West schedule. So we talked about this last week when all the schedule full release came out. It's like, wow, the 49ers really caught a break here. They've got this is falling right for them and that is falling right, and they're strength of schedule, and they're the 32nd, team for as far as strength of schedule. This is actually the last year that Brock is cheap. The big kick in is next year. It's an extension. So he's like $5 million this year, besides the guaranteed money and stuff like that that's going to start rolling in. But that doesn't have to do with the cap. This is the year to actually go out and do it if you are the 49ers. But you're right. All those draft picks, or a lot of those draft picks, have to maybe step up in a way that you may not hope to, lean on rookies in that kind of way. But this is a sneaky year where the 49ers should be in some major contention because that schedule, I'm not going to say cupcake, but obviously on paper is very easy.
Well, you said last year was all in.
I know, a different type. The
schedule
so
this
was
year's
as hard
all
as
in
hell
again.
last year, and they paid guys to come back. Now this year, easy schedule.
Yeah.
Kind of play things down the middle as far as hanging on to some guys and not others.
I think they can thread the needle between rebuilding and being good because they have a lot of young guys too. Listen, the core of the offense is going to be Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, and Ricky Pearsall. You probably have 3 or 4 years with these guys. It's not like, I know the big issue is Trent Williams is very old. I think
McCaffrey.
Yeah. Well, but again, I think they drafted another running back who they love. That is a team that I know they missed McCaffrey last year, but come on.
He led the NFL in yards from
how much
scrimmage the year
history
they went
do
to
you
the
need
Super
at
Bowl.
the Niners running back to be convinced that they are going to find guys? I mean, they had Raheem Mostert running all over the NFC playoffs 4 years ago.
I know, but they made the decision to trade for McCaffrey, pay McCaffrey, and then extend him again.
Yeah, but they've drafted in the last few years Isaac Guerrero and Jordan James. I mean, I watched Guerrero when he was healthy. He's super fast, super big.
Then why'd they give McCaffrey any more money?
Well, I think that was a reward, and it's only what, $19 million, right? That's
okay.
I mean, that's not a big deal. That's certainly not. McCaffrey is not taking up their cap space. I mean, I think that Trent Williams wants $38 million. Anyway, I'm not worried about running back. If that's your big concern with them, I would put that to the side. I think they'll find that. The key is they have to rebuild this defense where they've lost a lot of guys, and hit the window where Bosa and Warner are still at their peaks. And I don't think they're going to have a downtime. I don't think they're going to be a top 5 pick. And I think they know that. That's why they're paying Brock Purdy. There's no better option at quarterback. They're going to be picking the 20s. So I think people are way too down on this team. And also, they fixed special teams. They signed a lot of guys. They pulled a 2001 Bill Belichick and signed 5 veterans for special teams, which was probably their biggest problem last year. I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic.
Listen, I don't think people are down on the 49ers.
I think so.
I just think you have to be realistic about this contract when it comes to Brock. It's not the feel-good story anymore. It changes, okay? It can still be feel-good because you're happy for the guy and he overcame these odds of Mr. Relevant. That's fine. But it's now very different because you can't say, wow, that one of the big things about Brock Purdy was he was a deal. It was cheap, and they had success by going to the Super Bowl, NFC Championship game. We'll never know what would happen if Purdy didn't get hurt against your Philadelphia Eagles a couple years ago. But now you're just like everyone else who's paying a top quarterback. Your margins get slimmer. You have to ask the quarterback to do more. And it's not like there's no mission accomplished here. Like, you're just starting. And I know Brock's 26, but like now the real work begins. I hate to say that. Now the real work begins because you're no longer going to have a guy who's super cheap. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. EJ is back. Hola.
Hola. ¿Cómo estás?
Excited to hear about your trip to Mexico. But can we also put a poll question up? 49ers have signed Brock Purdy to a massive deal. Did they just get closer to a Super Bowl or further away? And by the way, I asked that same question when Trevor Lawrence got his money and Tua and all of these guys who get this big money before they, well, Purdy's done more than those guys, yeah.
Would you have not signed those deals?
So I don't think I would have done the Tua one. I'd like to think I would have had the discipline not to do the Tua contract. The Dolphins clearly did not. Lawrence, I still understand that you did draft him to be this franchise savior, and a lot of things that have happened have really not been his fault. Some have, but some have not. It's been a revolving door at coach now. You made an all-time bonehead hire with Urban Meyer and all that.
Let's see. I hear a lot of talking around here.
Here's the thing. I think Kyle Shanahan is different because if I look at Tua, who even started with Brian Flores, and clearly that was a gigantic mess that the two of them did not get along before he got McDaniels. I just mentioned now Trevor Lawrence is on his 3rd head coach in, what do we have, 4 or 5 years in? Nobody's had the stability that the 49ers have enjoyed at head coach and GM. Like, some of these other guys, and even Justin Herbert, who had to live through the Brandon Staley years at first before finally getting Jim Harbaugh. I'm sorry, I'm putting more pressure on the 49ers and Purdy because they've also enjoyed this unbelievable stability where Kyle Shanahan is a brilliant coach. You don't have to be searching in the woods for a coach and hoping it works out. This is as good a situation as you can walk into as a quarterback.
So you're saying you wouldn't have paid it?
No, I'm saying two things. Shanahan obviously has a belief in himself that he can win with anybody because that's why he's paying Purdy. I'm also a little surprised that he's attaching himself so much to Purdy because he thinks he can win with anybody. So I guess I am a little surprised. I know they didn't want it to get contentious. They didn't want it to bleed into the OT, into the training camp. But I am a little surprised. I think Shanahan is a guy who believes I'm the system. It's not about the quarterback that's running it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the flip side is, and I'm sure, I don't actually remember this, but I'm sure you killed the Cowboys for letting Dak get to the end of his contract. Everybody did. The flip side is you could have played out this year. Purdy could have had a good year, and man, you'd be in trouble. So that's what happened. This is actually not a bad deal. This is not going to kill the Niners. Like, you have to pay. The cap keeps going up, $53 million. They want to get younger anyway. They have to get younger because I think part of the injuries is they're so old. I think they came away from this and saying, thank you, Brock, for not really putting us over the barrel because he could have.
So one thing that you always say that is one of the reasons why there's always risk that comes with these really big deals, even though I'm with you, you should sign them earlier rather than later. Yeah. Don't do what the Cowboys do, which is wait till the 11th hour on everything because you end up paying top of market. And look, Dak Prescott's $60 million still looks like an outlier, and the Cowboys clearly overpaid. Yeah. But you've always told me this. Brock's worth more to the 49ers than any other team in the NFL. You've always said, what would Brock get on the open market?
No. I wouldn't say that. I actually said Brock is not as valuable. basically Brock needs Kyle Shanahan.
He's more valuable to the 49ers than he is anywhere else.
But the reality is, yes, I did say that. And yeah, I was paying him $45 million. But when it became clear that wasn't going to happen, I get this. Of course, the opposite. You couldn't pay him $45 million.
No.
That wasn't going to happen. But I would have not let him go. I would not have moved on.
I guess what I'm saying is if you realize, like, if something happens or you realize, oh my gosh, I made a mistake, or I feel like I can win with someone else, or what have you, like, Brock doesn't have as much value if you're trying to offload him, is what I'm saying.
Nobody's offloaded any quarterback.
I understand, but this is what, like, if Brock Purdy's on the open market, is he probably getting something close to what Sam Darnold got, which is about $20 million less than what Brock is going to be making average? You know, Darnold's getting like 35, and this is like 53.
Well, yeah, but again, it's
so you're overpaying for your own guy, is what I'm saying.
But we know it's not a perfect market. Like, there's no. I do say that, and you're absolutely right. Like, I agree with Chris Sims that nobody thinks Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback without Shanahan. I totally believe with that. But that being said, we know the quarterback market's not efficient. You can't offload a quarterback. It's not. There's no open market for these guys. And there's a reason Sam Darnold was 30. There's a lot of reasons that happened. If Sam Darnold had gotten married to Kevin O'Connell when he first got into the league, he would not be getting $30 million now. He'd be getting $53 million a year. So I just think, like, there's no trading Brock Purdy. This is the way quarterbacks work. And that's why the Dolphins went in on Tua, too. You just don't have a lot of flexibility at that position.
Right. I understand it. I'm just saying that we all know what's going on here, which is if Brock was on the open market, he's not getting $53 million.
But I think the reality is you kind of had to do this if you're the Niners. I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I don't think in reality, in the real world, you could have played hardball here.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. So, 49er fans. Also, I hate to sideswipe the Cowboys on this one, but it was hard not to notice, like, oh, man, that Dak Prescott contract, which is shorter. It's much shorter. But still, that $60 million, like, no one's getting close to that.
Yeah, but I think we're playing a little more.
It's really just out there. Like,
he's coming off an MVP season. I didn't know. Did you know that was that bad?
Lamar won it again.
Yeah, he was like second in MVP voting. Did you honestly? I feel, again, that's a little Monday morning quarterback. Yeah, it was a little high, but it wasn't as bad as it looks now. We didn't know they were going to be 3-5 until he got hurt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, wait, okay. Pull the tape. I want to hear the day he signed.
I was the one who said don't sign him, which is why I have to go to the Waffle House and eat 24 hours worth of waffles.
You said don't sign him?
I said I didn't think they were going to. I actually thought they'd be smarter than this. And then the next day he signs, and now I got to eat waffles for a full day. It's happening this summer, by the way. This is good. Like, I'm literally putting my stomach on the line here. It's going to explode. I mean,
you were running the Cowboys and not Jerry Jones. Maybe this wouldn't have happened.
If only they listened to me.
I mean, by the way, okay, were you going to just let that go?
Yeah. 888-710-4ISN.
Yeah, because that would work out great for the Cowboys to go Cooper Rush into the 2024 season.
I had Joe Milton on the way. I just didn't know it. 888-710-4476. Okay, so 49er fans, how you feeling about the Brock contract? Probably happy that it got done, but now the reality sets in of, oh no, I've got a $53 million a year quarterback. I'm expecting a lot from Brock Purdy. Again, 888-710-4ISN. Big weekend. Excited basketball fans around here. I mean, can we get a little something on a Game 7, though? Sheesh.
Let's go, Knicks!
Get to that in a minute. 7P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. So the NBA, now the Nuggets are out, will crown its 7th champion in 7 years, total parity, and that champion will be the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm just going to say it, like, this is done. The playoffs are done. I'm sorry, enjoy your Knicks-Pacers series to get headed for the slaughter in the finals. I just can't stand these guys at the Knicks. I'm telling you right now, I love this tweet. This is the Lakers-Nets in 2002. You are the Nets.
Wait a minute.
Enjoy the finals.
Hold on one second. Is this an anti-EJ Manny take because they're so happy? Manny literally
very much so.
Sent us a photo of him with tears in your eyes. Manny, you cried?
Let's go, Knicks! Darn tootin'.
You cried to get to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, darn tootin'.
It's not the finals, man.
I'm fully aware. Thank you very much.
No, that's fine. It's been a long time. It has been a quarter century.
Never
but
in my life.
This is an anti-Manny EJ take, not a pro-OKC take.
Yo, it's definitely a pro OKC take. It's just a reality of the situation. The Knicks Pacers, the quality of play compared to the West, like those teams would not be in the Western Conference Finals.
Haterade
so I
is
feel
what you
like
guys are
it's
drinking.
kind of like the Spurs against the Cavs in 2007 or the Magic. This is the East is going to crown officially an Eastern Conference champion, but they will not be competitive in the finals against the OKC Thunder, who are going to, in my opinion, wipe the floor with the Timberwolves.
I mean, it sounds like you want to show bet these two
Yes.
dudes because you
Oh,
are.
heck, if I get the Thunder Knicks, yes.
Wait, hold on. But it's got to be Thunder
the field.
Knicks, and also you think it's either going to be a sweep or a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, you're talking about this. You said Nets.
Yes. Oh,
Nets, Lakers.
I'm absolutely fine with that. I say
someone in the East is winning a game. Give me a break.
I don't think they get to 6 games against the Thunder.
Well,
Are you sure the Thunder are
not
beating the
Nets.
Timberwolves?
Yes.
Yeah, but 6 games is not the Nets. Oh, you saying they won't get the 6? You're saying 5?
Yeah, I'm saying that they get them in 5. I'll give them.
No,
Maggie gave me a gentleman's sweep out right there. So the Thunder are heavy favorites, minus 165 to win the whole thing. Then come the Knicks. Then come the T-Wolves at plus 550. The Pacers at plus 700. Pacers, Knicks, a bit of a toss-up. But I got to tell you, whoever comes out of that series is going to be worn down, and they're going to face the waves of OKC Thunder defenders. And at the very least, they'll face a very tall Minnesota team. So I think OKC is set up. You saw the game yesterday. Who's beating that team, Maggie?
Okay, but they just had to go to 7 games. Like, that's the thing. You're like, who's going to be worn down? They're both going to be worn down. I think these are going to be 2 really good series here.
Vegas doesn't really agree with you. They see the Thunder storming through this.
Yeah, but Vegas is weird when it comes to the NBA because, I don't know, I've seen some weird betting totals. They were on, like, the Kevin Durant Brooklyn Nets up until that ship completely sunk.
They've been on the Thunder, and the Thunder are here.
They were on the Celtics, and the Knicks were up 0-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so were you, by the way.
No, I wasn't. I was like, hey.
Coming into the series?
No, I'm saying 0-2. I kept saying.
Celtics
I
are
kept
still
saying, you kept saying
favored.
the Celtics are fair. I was like, okay, go bet them. I kept saying that.
Yeah.
I don't trust Vegas when it comes to betting NBA.
Well, I just think I just watched the games, and it just seems like the Thunder have these waves of guys that come at you, where the Knicks go 5 deep, the Pacers a little more deep, and I think the Timberwolves got kind of lucky that the Warriors were hurt. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at it logically, and I know this sounds like I'm hot taking a bit, but not really. The Thunder were 68-14, had the all-time biggest margin in NBA history, and you saw it all in operation yesterday. If one thing doesn't work, he can pull somebody else off the bench. You could put Alex Caruso on Jokic. You have 100 different options with the Thunder, where I think the other 3 teams in the playoffs are limited.
Okay, a couple things. OKC having the home court advantage definitely helps. The crowd's super into it. But I also think that the Aaron Gordon injury definitely played into it, too. The guy's playing through a grade 2 hamstring strain. I mean, he can barely move out there. You know, Jamal Murray is just, I don't know what's his future is going to be with the Nuggets. Probably not great. I mean, he already got paid, so whatever. But, you know, they don't have clearly they had the right supporting cast around Jokic at one point, but now they don't anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Nuggets are a flawed team, and beating them doesn't prove that much. But it's the Thunder just are not going to have a difficult path. I don't think the Timberwolves are a fully complete team.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Can we figure out what the stakes are on this bet? Because I feel like it's got to be Perloff v. EJ and Manny for the finals or whatever, however you want to do this. And I feel like someone's got to eat the tuna jello.
What?
Hell no.
Tuna Jello. No.
Or something else. The tuna jello has by far been the toughest assignment, toughest bet to pay off of any. We paint our faces and all that stuff. That's child's play. That tuna jello with the green olives in it was life-changing experience for the worst.
Well, I think we can be creative enough to come up with a new food, though.
That's true.
I mean, nothing is as diabolical.
So the tuna
you want
jello,
squid anus or something?
Now
like,
there was
right.
now it's funny
fine.
because I think it was off the Timberwolves that we got the tuna jello, right? Because it was some sort of Nordic theme.
Yes,
it was.
It was.
It was based on the T-Wolves.
It was based on the T-Wolves.
It was lutefisk.
It was
something.
lutefisk, and versus Rocky Mountain oysters.
Right.
Which thank God we didn't have to do that because I have no idea where I would have found those.
It was like we had to go to a black market butcher. They are just not around and available in New York City.
Definitely not.
So I think it's got to be one of the foods from the 4 teams. We got I guess if the T-Wolves win it all, then we'll go with lutefisk.
Back with the tuna jello.
What's a gross food from OKC or New York or Indiana?
Don't the Thunder play next to a cat, like a Purina factory?
What?
Or their
trying to get
facility?
on?
Oh, Maggie's out.
I'm not in this bed. I did my time.
How
with
did
the
you?
tuna jello.
I've never heard that.
There's
did
a
the Thunder
story about like the smell.
Oh, I know what the smell is. I've been to OKC. I've been to
No, but like
Oklahoma.
next to their facility or next to like something specifically is next to one of their buildings That was an actual news story.
So I don't
Stand
know
by.
about that, but Bogusch can look it up. I can tell you my story of going to Oklahoma City, which I had a phenomenal time and actually ate really well there. Delicious steakhouse. Like it was a good time. But I asked the people at the hotel, I said, listen, this is not a judgment thing. I'm coming from New York City. It smells horrible in New York City at all times. But there is an interesting smell that's kind of like wafting across. What is it? They said it's a canola oil plant. So sometimes in like whatever way the wind happens to be blowing, you get a whiff of that.
I've been there twice actually, and both times I stayed in a casino, and it smelled like cigarette smoke.
You could be anywhere in the world
Did you stay
for
in the
that.
casino? It's like their biggest hotel.
No, I stayed
The
in a
Sweetwater
regular
Casino or something. Yeah, because I've been to 2 Sooners games, and you often stay in Oklahoma City to go to Norman.
Yep.
Okay, well, we can think about this. Indiana's a big steak town, right? So I guess we'd have to eat steak.
Beef, and also the St. Elmo's is the shrimp, but I don't know.
I mean, if I have to eat steak and shrimp, I will definitely do that.
Doesn't feel like much of a bet.
There's a lot of steak in
The
these
cat food feels like it could be on par.
I just still can't believe, getting back to the
We are
basketball,
humans.
that you really think the Thunder are just going to – this is insane.
I think
to
the
me.
Thunder are going to whoop the East, yes.
Did you watch them in this? They just played a 7-game series.
Against the Nuggets with Jokic.
With your favorite player, Russell Westbrook, and one guy with a torn hamstring playing in Game 7. Like
I just think the West is way better than the East right now.
I think at this point, I don't know if you can say that.
Get in the bet then, man.
I'm not, because I don't want to eat anything gross. I've got this waffle bet looming out there. I owe somebody. I got to dress up like someone in the black hole. I've got a lot of things looming.
Yeah, I'm feeling very confident in the West right now. Very, very confident.
Well, it was really one team because you're giving the T-Wolves no chance, which I also think is crazy.
Well, the T-Wolves are hard to predict. They're crazy up and down. I think the T-Wolves would be favored against the East too if they beat the Thunder. So I feel very comfortable taking the West in 5 games.
Bogusch, what has your research turned up here?
Yes. So the previous Thunder practice facility is located near a Purina plant, which leads to a distinct aroma of dog food, sometimes wafting into the building. The team has since left that building, but sadly the G League's OKC Blue, lives there now, so they deal presumably with that smell.
Dog food. Better than cat food as far as the smell.
Reminds me of downtown Buffalo where it smells like Cheerios.
That's a way better smell.
I mean, yes, you're not wrong, but I mean...
Yeah, it smells like something.
Smells like something.
Sometimes where I am in New Jersey weirdly smells like pancake syrup.
Wow.
Well, not where I live, but where I drive
where's
to.
that?
I'm jealous of that.
Yeah, it's like weird.
You rich people.
It shouldn't smell like that.
New Jersey. And this
Wafting out maple syrup
I can't
smells.
drive, but you know it smells like maple syrup out there.
It doesn't match.
Beats a swamp smell.
I live in Brooklyn, and there's one smell, and there's
Urine.
Weed, more weed. Our city's become a gigantic weed ashtray. It's actually, I think it's gonna be a big issue in the mayoral election. It's insane. 8 a.m, 50 people on the street. Anyway, that's my rule.
So dog food though, the dry stuff, Purina, yes?
I don't know.
All right. Percolate on that for a minute.
I'm not eating. I think dog food or cat food is kind of lame. Like,
I don't think you could eat that. You wouldn't be allowed to eat that.
Yeah, I'm not.
Anyway.
I'm not
that's not very creative. That's just like a frat bet. You know, like, oh, the pledges have to eat that stuff. You wouldn't know about this, Maggie.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
But I ate the tuna jello and I felt like I was being hazed.
That was probably worse than dog food in a way. I'm actually not joking.
No, it was.
That was the worst
I
taste
would
I've
have
ever
picked
had.
the dog food.
Yeah, no, there was something god-awful about that tuna jello.
I know.
I tried it, and I was talking.
I'm a different person
Remember how
now.
tough I was talking that I tried to bite and I couldn't take it down.
I walked in one woman and I walked out another.
Were your feet big before that day?
It made me like nuclear, like reactive. I glow
Yeah.
now and
It's
have a third
It's like the
eye.
Incredible Hulk. Like you had a gamma experiment gone wrong.
That thing was not from planet Earth.
No, it wasn't.
The way it moved, the way it looked. Oh,
Well, you also
God.
didn't follow the recipe either. Like
Recipe.
You
There's
ended
no
up-
recipe for a tuna lime jello.
No, but there was a recipe for like lutefisk, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
You didn't. We didn't do that.
No, they just dumped a bunch of stuff in a bowl.
Right.
No, there was no fish involved.
Maggie, not to ruin your day, but the mayonnaise was the killer. You ever seen mayonnaise suspended in green jello? It's not something you want to see before breakfast.
This is like a flashback to Nam right
I know.
now.
I just feel like I'm watching the last helicopter leave Saigon here, guys. Stop.
Maggie, you could do some research now. You can make one of us or one of the 3 of us eat gross food. It's on.
I don't know if my brain can comprehend something as bad as that tuna jello. Let's get to Bogusch, though. He's got the headlines for us. It unfortunately was kind of a flat Game 7 situation yesterday. But yeah, OKC moves on.
All the headlines sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with our easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com.
We're going to send it to Galveston with that dirty-ass water.
Yes, nothing was close yesterday. Scottie Scheffler won the PGA Championship, his third career major, by 5 shots. Game 7 in OKC ended in the third quarter, basically. The Thunder cruising to a 125-93 clincher over the exhausted Nuggets. Head coach Mark Daigneault.
An activity game, they drummed it up, for Game 7, and I just give them a lot of credit. Game 7s are there's not many games you wake up in the morning and you know that you're going to remember the game for the rest of your life, and Game 7's one of them.
Shai Gilgeous.
We're not going to remember this one.
Alexander. Well, I mean, they might.
Will.
Thunder fans will.
Not us.
35 for SGA to lead the franchise to its first Western Conference final
Alexander
since 2016. Game 1 with the T-Wolves is tomorrow night. The NHL couldn't give us a good Game 7 either.
Backhand toward the net, into the far corner. The Wolsterine in there collides with Ekman Larson. Over on the far boards, long shot. Marchand tip, they score! And it's into Wolsterine, who got a piece of it. Marchand put it to the net. Wolsterine tips it in. And once again, the Panthers lead by 3.
Doug Plagans on Panthers radio. Etu Luostarinen scoring 47 seconds after Max Domi got the Leafs on the board early in the third period of Game 7 in Toronto. Maybe the Leafs had some momentum, then they didn't. It was 4-1 at that point. It ended 6-1, returning Florida to the Eastern Conference Final. Game 1 at the Hurricanes tomorrow night.
By the way, Drought Buster still alive, though.
Yeah,
the
that was a
Drought
blow.
Buster.
That was a blow,
That
but
was
you're
a blow.
still alive.
It was a blow, but I mean, I saw Paul Bissonnette's lighting prayer candles on TV. Even the year the Drought Buster cannot help the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm sorry about that. But there are still drought-busting opportunities alive in the NHL. And then for basketball, and Bogusch sent this to me last night, very obvious, you'd have 3 first-time champions and 1 drought-buster in the NBA. And that, of course, would be EJ and Manny.
But I think you should take the first-timers as drought busters because you're it's still a drought, right? If you don't win. If we're not winning, it's not winning.
Yeah, no, I think it should count. But I will say, I tried to explain the drought buster theory that Maggie has to my future mother-in-law. It was very difficult.
You did say slump buster, did you?
No, I used slump buster at first. And she was like, what's that? I was like, I'm just going to keep this PG. But I was going through the teams that have won already, and I was like, well, Eagles, that doesn't really work. Florida, well, it was only 05. Oh, and then every time I was like, this
08, right?
Yeah, 08, whatever it was. I was like, yeah, I don't know. This theory is a little sketchy, to be honest.
I spent an inordinate amount of time thinking about the theory. I was thinking it could be the Panthers, Eagles, Dodgers, and
another Scheffler major, by the way.
One NBA. Yeah, it could be.
Listen,
it could be
Rory
the
broke a
absolutely.
drought.
It could be It could end up being the anti-drought buster year in pro sports.
I was trying to say, well, the Dodgers won a World Series, but it was COVID, so let's take that out. So let's go back to the 80s, and she was looking at me like I was crazy.
But that was 2024.
That was
Isn't this
2024.
calendar year 25?
No,
Yes.
baseball is TBD.
No, it's 2025.
Right.
Right. No, he's talking about last
Yeah,
year.
the Eagles didn't really count.
So you didn't count last.
The
Oh. We
Eagles
count
don't
I thought you were
fall
going
in.
this calendar sports year. Okay.
Well, I don't
Some
know.
people have asked me that.
They keep moving back to Super Bowl. You're going to wait till it's going to be March of next year.
I don't think it's not going to apply. The Ohio State one also is a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
but-
to stress the Ohio State
listen,
one.
basically, everybody was coming into this NCAA tournament saying, is this the year the Gators finally end the drought?
So, in other words,
Not
nobody.
Honzaga.
Right. Because
that'd be
honestly,
a first
it's
time.
hard to find a school that's more dedicated to football and worse at that sport than Florida. But you're right. It was all about the slump busting with Florida Gators.
I love this in Gator football. That's
What's
awesome.
the line from Mean Girls? Stop trying to make fetch happen. I feel like that's where Maggie is now.
No.
Begging us to believe
Now
in the
she's got
drought
to triple
buster.
down on this. She
So-
can't.
Well, she just said it can't even help the Leafs, as if it's a thing. It's not even a thing yet, and she's already saying that its power is limited.
I'm telling you, you guys on the other side of the glass better pray that I'm right about this, because that would mean the Knicks win the title.
Well, regardless, we're going to get a champion whose drought is going to end in the NBA.
Well, also, you could give the OKC the Seattle history, and then boom, you got 1978 Seattle Supersonics.
Yep.
Okay.
Not what I thought about when Rory was in a playoff, but yeah, okay. I'll
so
take it.
here we are, May 19th, and nobody has busted their slump.
No.
Rory did.
Okay.
But yeah, Scottie.
And that's
winning
it so
yesterday
far.
was
No other
bad.
company for Rory. Scottie
One,
on an
actually
island.
literally not even
Yeah.
a team. One singular person.
Rory and Maggie by themselves on drought-busting island.
Scottie broke the PGA drought of whatever 5 of them that he's played and hasn't won yet. There you go.
There you go. Sure.
So again, Scottie wins easily, Thunder win easily, Panthers win easily. Sunday Night Baseball was at least close until the 8th inning.
Lefty against lefty. First pitch hit deep to right field. Soto back onto the track in front of the wall. He jumps. He can't get it. It's gone for a grand slam for Cody Bellinger.
Howie Rose, Mets Radio, the
Editorializing
Bellinger
there.
Grand Slam
Hey now!
capping off a 6-run 8th. The Yankees taking the rubber game with the Mets 8-2. Bellinger 6 RBI total, while Max Fried K'd 8 over 6. But the Mets did score twice, so that raises his ERA to 1.29.
Boy, what a throw there by Pete Alonso, eh?
I wish I could have led with this. Phillies closer Jose Alvarado suspended 80 games for PEDs, which means he's also ineligible for the postseason. GM Dave Dombrowski saying Alvarado unknowingly took a weight loss drug with a banned substance during the offseason.
Happens to the best of us.
Why do they have to ban him for the postseason? He'll be back.
That's part of the rules.
I know. That's what really hurt. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
well, 80 games. You get that guy rested up, maybe juice up again, or, sorry, weight loss drug up again.
Cycle off, cycle back
See,
on.
Philadelphia doesn't care how they win as long as they
No.
win.
Do you know how everyone says, well, Barry Bonds was a great player before he took PEDs? I don't think you're going to hear that outcry in this particular case.
Yeah, I saw our friend Spike Essen posted. He was like, on the one hand, it sucks. On the other hand, it makes sense now why Jose Alvarado was so good this year.
Some PED suspensions just
like,
take it.
aha.
Yeah.
I remember Guillermo
Not
Wonder
Mota.
why they're
much to say on
testing
that
him.
one.
Guillermo Mota was like one of the worst relievers I've ever seen, and he was great for the Mets for like half a season. I was like, wow, this guy's a revelation.
Yep.
PED suspension, right as you're expecting.
I don't think he ever pitched it again.
Yeah, he came back. I'll never forget those terrible performances he had coming back to the Mets
See,
off the PEDs.
In some ways, I'm not endorsing this, especially the message it sends to kids and
What
all
you
that
got
stuff.
there, kid?
But yeah, in some ways, I kind of respect it. It's like, dude, you suck right now. It's like, what do I need to do to get better? Clearly, I can't use spider tack. I can't change the grip. I'm getting just waxed left and right. I kind of get it. It's cheating. I don't condone it, but I get it.
That's a morally strong take right there, Meg. Good for baseball, too.
I don't know. No one's ever really come to me for my moral code.
Inter Miami, 3-0 loss to Orlando City yesterday. Messi's crew has now dropped 5 of 7 matches.
The LA Galaxy still haven't won a game, by the way.
We're going to get to that. Don't
my
worry
God.
about it. And a little NCAA softball history yesterday. Liberty stunning #1 overall seed Texas A&M 6-5 to win their regional. It's the first time that the top overall seed doesn't survive the opening round since this setup began back in 2005.
Oh, that's 20 years.
Guys, back to you.
Drought Busters back on.
Wait.
888-710-4.
Liberty softball.
Liberty's got to go all the way.
Save me.
Liberty Flames.
888-710-4476.
Like we all thought.
Coming up, wasn't expecting this gigantic superstar to be spilling their guts online. We'll tell you what they said in a moment. MNP.
Hey now!
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Maggie Perloff Show. Get to Giannis apparently had time on his hands. Manny's in a good mood today. You can watch him smile and dance. YouTube.com/InfinitySportsNet. Twitch.tv/InfinitySportsNetwork. Manny crying tears of joy on Friday night when his Knicks made the conference finals. Checks notes.
Isn't it amazing how close the tears of joy are to tears of sadness? Like, that felt like a bit of a
I cry tears of
cry
sadness.
for help.
I cry
More than a cry
I cry
for
tears
joy.
of sadness before I go to sleep anyway. So
Yeah.
Just there's always liquid just coming out of the eye sockets.
Did you
Not
consider
sure why.
season? It's allergies.
Did you consider taking Maggie's advice and going down to the big party in Manhattan to find a love interest?
Not to find a love interest, to maybe cause mayhem in the city, but I decided to be a good boy and stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what I thought about those scenes on 7th Avenue in just a moment. But Jay
Oh,
is
I'm
in
sure I'm gonna love them.
Nashville. Jay, what's up, dude? Good morning.
Buenos dias, everybody. EJ is good. I'm glad you're back.
Buen
And
dia.
Manny, I told you, Manny, I told you it was gonna be all right, champ. I told you, Manny was saltier than a Salt Lick last week, bro. But I told you they were gonna be all right. They was gonna win it, on Friday. And y'all talking show bet right now?
Yeah, you got anything for us?
For you.
This one is Perloff v. EJ and Manny. Perloff came on talking tough about OKC. It's their championship to lose. And if they play the Knicks, it's not. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep at best.
Oh, Perloff already know my 2 words. Goat anus. I already suggested that.
Jay, it's not easy to find.
I was
man.
like, what did you just say? That dawned on me.
Hey, call up Joe Rogan. I'm sure you can have some imported goat anus for
Why, does he eat
Perloff
that?
right there.
I think he did it on Fear Factor.
Oh yeah, I got him on
Fear
speed dial.
Factor.
We're tight with Rogan. Yeah, I just we got to find that. I got to Google it on a work computer. I'll do it on my phone. I don't know where you find it.
I don't know. If you know what? You ever heard of a beef Sesos taco or beef Sesos burrito? It's basically cow brains. I'm sure you can find that.
I'm not eating
I'm from the West.
I'll do the brains for sure.
You'll eat brains over.
Yeah.
What's it called? Sweet brains? Yeah. I'd definitely do brains. Because they eat
But,
that stuff in England on the regular, right?
Sure.
I don't know about England.
They had a Saturday Night Live skit this weekend about how gross food is in England. Jellied eel. That's like a thing.
Yeah.
You want cow tongue, Perloff? Cow tongue is actually a delicacy in Mexico. You want some cow tongue?
You could get a cow tongue sandwich in Brooklyn. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
That's some old school Eastern European and also Mexican.
I've had
Same thing.
Yeah. What? It's better than a cow buttocks or whatever else. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll eat a cow tongue. Cow tongue is not that radical, Manny. You could have that.
I don't know. It still seems gross. I know people like it, but I think
corned beef.
All right, let me Google this on my phone. I'm not going to start Googling around about goat parts.
No one's eating goat anus, so you don't waste your time. You guys aren't into that, right?
Definitely not.
Hell no.
By the way, if your goat's bleeding from it, you might want to consult a veterinarian is the first thing that came up.
God, where did that come from?
I'm just saying it's a Google search, AI overview.
Oh.
You mean to tell me blood is not supposed to come out of there?
It's called coccidiosis. It's not good, guys. If that's happening to your cat,
Oh my God.
call the vet.
Can I please talk about the conference finals, man? Y'all just went way to another strategy.
I don't know, Jay, you brought it up. Yeah, go ahead. What do you got on the conference finals?
I know it's my fault. No, as far as Western Conference final, I was telling EJ, I think the rating is going to be low on that one because you ain't got the usual suspects in the Western Conference right now. But as far as the Eastern Conference final, you got the usual suspects. I mean, it's going to be old school, like Reggie Miller, John Stark, you know what I mean? That type of feeling.
Yep.
And you know what? As far as New York, I need more people on that outside jumbotron. Like next time, if y'all do win this series, I need somebody up there with a miniature barbecue grill and some miniature lawn chairs on top of that jumbotron the kid was on outside.
Well, barbecues are outlawed in this city, man.
Yeah, NYPD might have a problem.
Hey, you know what? The perfect thing.
Yeah.
Hey, the perfect thing for that series would be, you know Reggie Miller's going to be in the booth. If they had Reggie Miller and Spike Lee, and you had Reggie Miller trolling Spike Lee.
We had this
the whole
last
game
year. They played last year. We did this last year. I know it's now for the Eastern Conference Finals, but they played last year, and the Pacers beat the Knicks. Now, Knicks got really hurt in that one. Jay, you're the best. Thank you so much. I've already done this. I'm saying as the someone who respects that rivalry, but I already had this. Now this to me is a little bit more about the basketball. And the Knicks fans celebrating was two things to me. One, obviously, you make the conference final for the first time in 25 years, Perloff. But I think there was a little bit where the Knicks fans feel like they already beat the toughest team they have to beat. Like, we vanquished the reigning champs, and we're celebrating almost like we won the title, even though you'd have 2 more rounds to go. Because you took out Boston. Boston was favored, no doubt. All of that is good. But I don't know how Knicks fans can't be worried about your next opponent here.
Well, wait. I've not seen that energy from Knicks fans. I've seen that they know the Pacers are really good. I have a lot.
But why are they celebrating on 7th Avenue like they just won the title?
Because they would have celebrated over Atlanta. They would have celebrated over beating. They celebrate the earlier round? Like they celebrate over anything. They're so
But this
desperate
one
to
looked like a championship parade from overhead.
God.
Like, that was crazy. You guys are jumping off street poles.
It's been growing, too. I feel like if they beat Indiana, it's going to take over the entire city.
But you don't want that mission accomplished feel yet. I know you haven't been there in a long time, but
I think it was very exciting to beat the Celtics. I think Maggie's a little bit right about that, but I don't think anyone's looking past the Pacers. I agree with Perloff, especially after what happened last year.
But you have so many casuals now that are coming in that I don't even know if they were there last year.
Who cares about the casuals? As long as the players are focused, that's all that matters.
Well, that's true. Coming up, got more for you from the NFL.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Brock Purdy gets paid. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Happened kind of like you would think a Brock Purdy contract would happen, actually. Kind of under the radar. Friday, a little bit of a news dump.
Yeah.
But he gets 5 years, $265 million with $181 million in guarantees, $165 million in guarantees through the first 3 years. And our small little upstart Brock Purdy story of Mr. Irrelevant is gone, and now it's Brock Purdy step into being a top 5 paid quarterback and all the expectations that follow it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Niners are coming off a tough year. There's reason to think if they can keep it all healthy that this will work out. I said earlier in the show, the expectations are way down. Their odds, I mean, they've been pretty much the favorite in the NFC the last 3 years. Not at all this year. So I think actually there's a little, despite the contract, there's a little protection for the Niners. I think the expectations are down after last season. Last year, coming off the Super Bowl overtime loss, that was a tough spot because they played so deep into the season that a lot of older guys, and I think you called this, they were totally worn down.
I know, but somehow Kansas City got back to the Super Bowl. I mean, and they got smoked in the Super Bowl. But to be fair, I mean, they took out the Bills. They did it again. They were going for the three-peat. Some teams are built for it.
Yeah, I think the Niners kind of do this. I think they pattern from earlier in their mini dynasty run now. 2019, they lose a tough Super Bowl. 2020, they're terrible. 2021, they're 10-7 and get deep into the playoffs again. The funny thing is we call Shanahan a postseason choker. We do. I mean, he's made 2 massive mistakes. He screwed up the who got the ball first in the Super Bowl, and he was part of the 28-3 loss with the Falcons.
Yep.
But dude wins a ton of playoff games. Like, if they get into the tournament, they're going to be really hard. So I'm actually kind of very interested in this team. I think they have a great chance to make some noise this year. I love their draft. Other people are saying their draft has been a disappointment. I feel like they did everything they needed to do, and I have a little faith in Robert Saleh, believe it or not. Not as a head coach, but as defense coordinator. This deal is fine, right? Like you were saying, there's more expectations. Maybe I probably said this after Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love too, but I feel like this deal is fine. They had to do it. I will maybe eat those words in 6 months.
Yeah, it's funny, though, because it's being touted as a very team-friendly deal.
Yeah.
And I understand that. That was Josh Allen's extension was the same kind of thing because it was a lot of guaranteed money, but not a really big salary cap hit. So not to get too boring on the details, but not taking up so much of the salary cap, they found other ways to pay these guys and get them what they wanted. The thing is, though, is like, and I'm not comparing Brock Purdy to Josh Allen, but like that's the water he's kind of swimming in now. Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Like this is the deep end of the pool when you're talking about quarterbacks and what they're expected to do. And it's not just about running the offense now. Sometimes you have to be the offense. Not all the time, but sometimes you have to be the offense or else you're just another guy who's a good quarterback, not great, on an awesome team. And it becomes a lot harder to have that awesome team around you when one guy's getting paid so much, whether he's 20% of the cap or 19 or 18, it's still a significant amount of your cap. It's way more than it was when he was making $1 million.
Absolutely. Right. But look at the players they lost getting ready for this. Do you have any concerns about losing Deebo Samuel? Did you watch Deebo Samuel last year? His rushing average dropped from 7 yards to 3 yards per carry, just about.
Yeah.
He's getting old. I mean,
I get it.
All the guys they lost, Hofunga's been hurt.
Yeah,
but they kind of had to reset anyway. I think they're going to be the rare team that can thread the needle and not have to totally reset to rebuild. I think they're going to be good.
Again, not to bring up my Bills, everyone's writing them off because they got rid of a lot of veterans last year, and they ended up clinching the division by Thanksgiving.
Go Bills.
Here's the thing. Much easier division.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to be a little harder when you got Matthew Stafford, who's trying to rip off a last Super Bowl, probably his last year. You finished with a worse record than the Arizona Cardinals last year. That's just the facts. And also, what's going to happen now in Seattle? I like Sam Darnold and Brock Purdy are probably pretty comparable. For being honest,
Seattle seems to be living in that 9-8, 8-9 mode. And they don't terrify me. The Rams are really good this year. But again, yes, you can't afford all the same guys, but everybody you let go had been injured recently. They were getting old anyway. It's time to retool, and it's time to get some young blood in there. I think Mikael Williams is going to be a star, and I think this defense is going to storm back. They made a huge mistake paying Javon Hargrave, former Eagle. I'm starting to realize, don't take a former Eagle.
Don't trade with Howie Roseman at all.
Yeah, just don't get involved in the Howie Roseman game. The funny thing, too, is the Niners, remember earlier in the offseason we were calling them cheap? They're not big into cash spending right now, but they got this infusion of money. Did you read that? They brought in a bunch of new families to get some more money to the owners.
Yep.
So now they can spend a little bit. I think the Niners are in better shape than other people. And you mentioned earlier in the show the easy schedule. Let's go.
888-710-4ISN. We know we're on to the Bay Area. I'm curious how fans are feeling because if the early poll results are any indication, not great. Are the 49ers closer to a Super Bowl or further from a Super Bowl after signing Brock Purdy? Further from a Super Bowl is a landslide, 77%.
Oof.
I wasn't expecting it to be that much of a landslide.
But that poll ignores the reality that he wasn't going to be on a rookie deal forever. So, yeah, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just draft a new guy and do a new rookie deal?
Keep it going. You're Kyle Shanahan.
How?
You could win with me and you.
Yeah, okay. So you were going to let Purdy. I want to hear you on the record say I wouldn't have paid Purdy.
Here's the deal. I understand where we are in the NFL. I'm just saying, you're telling me that Brock Purdy is $20 million a year better than Sam Darnold? And I'm not even a Sam Darnold person, but that's not right.
So wait, if that's the case, then just say
$20 million bigger than Baker Mayfield. Like he's just not. He's on a great team with a great coach with stability and all of that. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is I think that even this is a team-friendly deal and they have an easy schedule, there is a world that's not that far of a stretch where they regret the hell out of this contract. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, they had Sam Darnold in the building. They could have paid him $33 million to come here and cut Brock Purdy. I don't think they want to do that. I think they think Purdy's better for their system.
Sure. That's fine. But a lot of guys could do that system, right? We're talking about could Kirk Cousins be on his way there? Aaron Rodgers at 40. Could he do the same type of thing? And that's our view from the outside.
I think they think Purdy would run this ship better for the next 4 years than Sam Darnold because they know Sam Darnold. Yep. Like, he spent a whole season with them. Trust me, I think they would have done that. But I think Purdy, I see Purdy a little differently than you're talking about him now. Yes, I don't think he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, but he does seem to be kind of magical when everybody's healthy. Darnold, $33 million. I mean, listen, look at the Tua is 53.1. He's more. Is he any better?
Tua contract, though, it looks so bad.
But Ed, no, it doesn't anymore because every quarterback's getting paid that. Tua is going to be the 20th highest paid quarterback by the end of his deal.
And no one knows if he can make it through a season.
Yeah, all these deals are bad.
That's a different one.
You just have to pay the quarterback. It's the reality of the NFL.
888-710-4ISN. Let us know what you think about Brock Purdy. Curious about the 49er fans. Fully on the bandwagon, off. Mike Silver from The Athletic, been covering the 49ers for a long time. He's going to join us coming up in the 9 o'clock Eastern hour. So set your alarms for that. Here's an NBA question for you because obviously we're right in the thick of it here. We've got both conference final matchups set. It's going to be Manny and EJ's Knicks going up against the Indiana Pacers.
Get out of here, Detroit!
We do not share that view. That is an EJ-only view. And then, then, of course, you got OKC and Minnesota is going to be the Western Conference Finals. So pour one out for the Nuggets, pour one out for the Celtics. But I ask you this question, bro. If we took the Nuggets and the Celtics, who just lost in the last round, and also the Warriors and the Lakers, who also have lost in the playoffs, right?
Right.
These are all teams who have won titles recently. Nuggets, Celtics, Warriors, Lakers. Leaving the Cavs out of this. They haven't won since LeBron. I'm just saying the teams that have won recently, Nuggets, Celtics, Warriors, Lakers. Who's the next team to win a title out of those four?
I go Warriors, and it's process of elimination. I feel like we've seen the death thralls of the Denver Nuggets. They just don't want to, for whatever reason, they don't want to pay up to have any depth. No, I know they have. I don't really believe that Michael Porter is going to turn it around. He always seems to get hurt. And Jamal Murray came up small. Aaron Gordon's probably going to need all offseason to get healthy. I just don't feel like they're dedicated to a championship by the lack of depth. The Celtics are getting old, so they're out. The Lakers are really old because LeBron's still there. The Warriors are ancient old, but they could trade Kuminga this offseason. They have a path to Giannis. They're the one team that I see can make a move. All these other 4 teams, I don't expect a bold move in the offseason. So definitely the Warriors are the team that's next. And you say like next ever, like they have like LeBron, they have to do it before LeBron gets too old.
Right.
Celtics have to do it while they still have all those guys. And I think that's too late. So it's got to be the Warriors to me. Who do you have?
Actually, I have the Lakers because I think next year has to be the year for them. Like the Nuggets, I was tempted to go Nuggets because they actually have the best player individually out of all of these, which is obviously Jokic. They're going to have a new coach and a new GM. Remember, they fired both guys. So there could be something, it could look wildly different for the Nuggets. For me, the Lakers, though, have to be the next team to win a title out of all of the teams that got bounced and ones who have won relatively recently. You got LeBron in the last year, maybe of his career, maybe. And you're still in the glow of the Luka trade. But you go 2 years, Luka, no deep run in the playoffs. I think people do start asking questions. And I wonder, there was a story that we talked about last week about the Lakers getting a new strength and conditioning coach. Remember, we were kind of laughing at it because they posted it on LinkedIn or something. We're like, wow, even the Lakers have to use LinkedIn. But that part of it could be very, maybe the most impactful thing if you come in with a Luka Doncic who's maybe in the best shape of his career or whatever. So to me, Lakers, next team to win the title because they have to be. They have to be.
But
Steph could play for another 3 years.
Do you have a big offseason move for them? Because obviously this team as constituted couldn't get out of the first round.
Yep.
Couldn't even get to a 6th game in the first round. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like LeBron is descending, and even if Luka plays really well, the team isn't really built around him. And the West, the other thing, too, is the West is so crazy.
It's hard.
So talented. It's just going to get better and better and better. Are they going to have the depth? Is there a move they can make to get a little stronger?
Now, I don't know if this is going to happen, but all I know is I've been watching the NBA for a long time, and somehow superstars fall out of the sky and land on this franchise. And it just happened with Luka Doncic. And are you kidding me? The GM didn't call any other teams. Like, this stuff does not happen to other teams.
Yeah,
Giannis is out there. I don't know how you make the salaries work. I don't know how you do it. All I know is that I've seen superstars of his caliber say, I want to go to this place, whether it's Kevin Durant saying it about the Suns, whether it's Bradley Beal saying it about the Suns. And those guys aren't even, well, Durant still is. Whether it's James Harden saying, I want to go to Brooklyn, then saying, I want to go to Philadelphia. There are certain guys who have a certain amount of cachet. Again, I'm not Bobby Marks. I don't know how to, I'm not Jerry West, may he rest in peace. I don't know how to make it work. I'm just saying, if Giannis says it's Lakers or nothing, history repeats itself. Anthony Davis said Lakers or nothing, and the Pelicans said, haha, in your dreams. And then what happened? He was a freaking Laker.
But at the same time, Maggie, Donovan Mitchell wanted to be a Knick. He was a Cav. Damian Lillard wanted to be a Miami Heat. He's in Milwaukee. Like, I think times have changed a little bit. I don't know if it's like...
Not for Giannis.
We say that, but I mean, I know he has a championship, so maybe Milwaukee wouldn't do him right, but I think these teams now know that it's stupid. It's stupid to do what the Nets did. It's stupid to do what some of these other teams did that took pennies on the dollar to make their superstar happy. I think they're going to go more the route of what the Trailblazers did and what the Utah Jazz did, which is to look out for themselves. And I think they're going to go find a place that is somewhat suitable, and then they're going to get as much as they can for Giannis.
Listen, to be honest, though, even though those guys didn't get exactly what they wanted, Dame Lillard did go to, like, on paper, a really good situation. A better situation than Miami.
But did you see his face? He looks miserable.
Well, but he got it together. And then the second one is, who did you say? Oh, Donovan Mitchell. They were the number 1 seed.
Right, but again, those guys didn't want to go there. So Giannis, he'd be going to arguably a worse situation than some of the other teams he can go to. He goes to the Lakers?
Well, I think here's my issue. The Lakers trade package, to me, isn't even close to what the other contenders are going to give you. Houston, San Antonio, who knows? I mean, there are probably 10 teams that can offer more. Because the Lakers have, I know they kept some picks, but, I mean, what are we talking about, Austin Reeves? Like,
I'm just saying this is more about a superstar strong-arming his way somewhere. And to be honest, like, there's another part. Giannis did this Ask Me Anything, which we'll get into some very funny answers that he had.
There was certainly no L.A. in that one.
No, but the first initial report that came out, he wanted L.A., New York, or Miami. Okay. So here's the thing about Giannis. Very charming in this Ask Me Anything. And again, we'll get to some of the more surprising answers in just a moment. But
Snitches get stitches.
It's very funny. This dude, don't underestimate him. He will make it ugly, I think.
I don't at all. God, I actually think there's a chance he goes back to Milwaukee. What about
that
dude? He
He's
seemed
been
like the
dropping
nicest guy.
breadcrumbs and being passive aggressive about the Bucks now for like 3 years. I think
he wants to go, but I don't think he's going to be a jerk about it. And also, he doesn't have. Does he have a no trade clause? No, right? So that's not even a thing.
I think that he would not be afraid to use the media, use everything at his disposal to try to make this happen, to go where he wants to go. Because think about it. All he keeps saying is, I want to be in a winning situation. He wants to dictate where he's going, bro.
I don't read Giannis that kind of way. It's difficult at all. I think he is such a team guy. Like, he's so nice. I read that AMA. I'm like, gosh, you're like the nicest guy. Could we be friends? I don't think he'll play hardball like that. Everything about him says, not small town because where he's from, but he seems like a humble guy to me. And also, too, I think he wants to win. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the San Antonio, Houston deals and all these other like young contenders with lots of pieces, that makes so much more sense to me. And by the way, the Bucks can't let Giannis go and get Austin Reeves. Like, they can't be Dallas and give away a superstar for nothing. Like, they need to build a future, right? They need like a top 5 pick and a young star.
Literally just happened with Dallas. Like, you guys are acting like this didn't just happen.
That was that's already considered the worst trade in NBA history. I don't think the Bucks want to top that.
Yeah, Nico messed it up for everybody else. Like, nobody's going to do that again.
Yeah, I think the days of that deal are long gone.
Like, I think now everybody's like, wait, I don't want to have security outside my house because they have their pitchforks people out there. No, I got to make sure I get a good deal. Nobody wants to be Nico Harrison. They got to live their normal lives.
Well, Nico's about to get Cooper flagged, so he gets a chance to start over again. We can talk about all the conspiracy theories in the world, but the NBA has a way of evening out, and the NBA has a way of LA attracting superstars. And so if you're asking me, the Nuggets, Celtics, Warriors, and Lakers, all the teams that have won championships relatively recently, who have gotten bounced so far in these playoffs, who's going to be the next to win a title? You're saying the Warriors, and I'm saying the Lakers.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I mean, the reality is probably none of them. It's probably going to have our 8th champion in 8 years.
The Houston Rockets.
I mean, the one thing is maybe the Thunder are going to be so good that none of these teams are going to get back in. Maybe the Thunder will be the new dynasty, but maybe not. I think it's really interesting. The West, like, you can't. Who would have predicted a Thunder T-Wolves finals? It's kind of hard. It's kind of erratic. So maybe all of them could make a move, but still, it feels like to me like the Lakers have seen their best chance go by.
888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We also have a show bet percolating. Perloff v. EJ and Manny. Perloff saying that you don't think the Knicks and OKC, if that is a finals matchup, not competitive.
No, if OKC, I don't know how to word this. If OKC gets to the finals, I think they wallop the East. We are the New York Knicks.
To be clear, you also said they're going to destroy the T-Wolves.
I like them over the T-Wolves a lot. I think this is a good matchup.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible to me. I think the Thunder in the regular season, not the Thunder in the playoffs. And you know me, I'm a Thunder guy.
Yeah, they're not shooting the ball well. That's for sure.
And I think that they play not down to their opponents, but I just think playoff basketball is different. Like, even that Grizzlies series, remember they were down 30 points and they came back in the game where Ja wasn't playing.
I think they're getting better. They're young. Shai Gilgeous was 12 for 19 yesterday.
He was awesome.
I think they're getting better. And also the T-Wolves, I mean, if you stop Anthony Edwards, what's going to get you? They have guys who stop Anthony Edwards. They're a one-man.
Playoff Julius Randle.
And playoff Julius Randle. So they have a lot of guys to stop him.
Okay,
so
what's on the table so far as show bets? The tuna jello you guys did not want to do, which I get. It's a soul-crushing experience. I've lived it. Yeah, what else was on the table as far as show bets are concerned? You do not want to do the dog food.
No, we're not doing dog food.
All right. What else did we come up with?
Does that be food related?
We didn't come up with that.
I feel like there's something more creative than food. I don't know what, though.
I don't know. The food is really what hits home.
I think you got to focus on the markets and get some gross food from one of the 4 remaining markets. OKC, Minnesota. We've already done Minnesota with the lime jello. Indiana and
what about
New
this?
York.
I'll getting away from food. because I have a sensitive stomach. I really don't want to do food if I don't have to. I will paint myself.
I did too.
I will paint my
that.
full. I will come into the show shirtless, and I will paint my full body half orange, half blue, but OKC obviously. If
we're doing paint jerseys.
If they do 5 games or less against.
Okay.
We did that.
To be
TV
honest,
show
I
like
think
5 times. I'm not doing that.
All paint jersey. I'm just writing
I've
down.
never done it.
I'm writing down a list.
I've been there, done that. I'm not.
Not doing the paint jersey.
But EJ can.
I'll do it. Yeah, that could be me. I'll do that.
Okay.
I really don't do food.
All right.
I'll do
Unless
food.
it's something.
I'll probably
gross.
like most of the foods you guys have to eat.
Ugh. Did you like the tuna jello? No.
That was bad. But generally, most of the food bets, I'm pretty comfortable with. Like, for example, your Waffle House bet. I would love to do that.
Yeah, but that's about volume.
Yeah, I love volume.
To be clear for the audience, this is EJ post Cancun eating 20 tacos body. So this is not a great visual.
It's funny thing about vacationing in an awesome place like Mexico, which is you feel like the food is fresher.
You're
right?
welcome.
You know, and it's
Thank
really
you, man.
good, but you just can't stop eating it. And you're not a drinker, so you're not drinking your calories. You are just eating.
No, I'm just eating them all. But I am doing the version of pina colada, so that's just all sugar.
Oh, that's not worth it.
No, it was delicious though. But I will say, they do a good job of not just making it super sweet. So the place I was at was beautiful.
Still
Awesome.
500 calories per drink.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I got
it's a
one.
meal in that drink.
Yes.
I got a bet.
Okay.
Somebody, and I saw this was somebody did the Big Texan Challenge, a 72 ounce. You guys heard of the 72 ounce steak challenge? It's this place somewhere in Texas.
It's like the old
yeah, I've
96er
heard-
from
yeah, I've
the
heard
movie The
But
Great Outdoors.
It's one particular It's a very famous challenge, and nobody gets through it. 72 ounce steak in an hour, and you have to eat the sides, which is what gets most people.
How much is that?
72 ounces.
No, I mean money.
Oh,
Monetarily.
you get so it's free if you finish
Yeah,
it.
72
sure, it's free to
ounces.
finish.
It's free if you finish it. How much does it
What are the
cost?
sides?
The
Like,
side?
if it's a baked potato, you're done.
Gotta be big potatoes.
The sides
Gotta
are
be part of it.
killers.
It's just that potato just gets in your stomach and just
Okay.
expands out like a bouncy house.
Here, real quick, the rules. Entire meal must be completed in 1 hour. If any of the meal is not consumed, swallowed, you lose. You have to pay in advance. Oh my God. Once you have started, you are not allowed to stand up, leave your table, or have anyone else touch the meal. You'll be disqualified if anyone assists you in cutting, preparing, or eating your meal.
Cutting.
You don't have to eat the fat, but we will judge you for this. Should you become ill, the contest is over. You lose. You can't throw up. You're required to pay the full amount up front. They don't say how much it is.
And where is this? Dallas?
This is in Texas. Okay.
If it's
Efforting.
San Antonio, then I'm definitely not driving back with you after that meal. No shot.
Why not?
Yeah.
Strap Perloff to the roof.
Okay. Amarillo, Texas.
All right.
Fun.
So I could double dip. Drive to San Antonio.
Yeah, it's
and then
pretty
go
close,
down.
right?
Well,
Like,
how
how
about
close is
this? Hold on, though. Is there a way we could also get it sent to New York and we can just abide by the rules and I
Yeah.
could be the referee? We can make sure it happens, even
Probably. Is there a risk of I don't
choking.
know. Yeah, I'm a little worried about this one. Let's not have it sent to New York.
Well, maybe don't have to eat it in an hour. Just eat it.
No, I have to eat in an hour.
No, I mean for us, we don't have to eat it in an hour. We have a 4-hour show. Why would we eat it in an hour?
Well, because you could do it in 4 hours.
It's part of the bet.
You could eat a 72-ounce steak in 1 hour?
No, I'm
Yeah,
just saying
that's the bet, EJ.
in terms of pain tolerance.
I think that just eating at I love steak. Eating a 72-ounce steak to me is punishment. That's crazy.
How
I
about
love
this?
steak.
I'm putting it down on the list, the 72-ouncer. Paint jersey, 72-ouncer. Keep them coming. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Looking for a show bet here. Coming up, how about Perloff in the news? The big news. Pearl being quoted in a news publication. We'll tell you why next.
Those are big waffles.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Well, down in Canton, Texas, there's a football team. Got $1 billion stadium, living the dream. But the fans don't holler, don't hoop, don't cheer. They just sip on Merlot and nibble on beer. They got boots on their feet, but won't step in no mud. Call it America's team while their wine's getting judged. Talk about championships like they're still in their prime, but I swear they care more about the notes and their wine. Oh, Cowboys fans with your fancy hats, eating aged cheddar while you clap in the stands. Too busy sipping that Bordeaux red to notice your team got whooped again. And people are still in at work. Yes, he stuck with y'all at a wine and cheese church. They wear big old hats but never break a sweat. Talking about that like he's Brady's threat. Wearing suits in the front row, acting all posh. Meanwhile, their playoff hopes just got squashed. They tailgate with Sam and that's lightly seared. Pairing white wine with playoff tears. They got money for days, they got yachts and stocks, but still can't explain why they love Jerry's box. Oh, Cowboys fans with your fancy hats, dip and Gruyere while you make playoff plans. Too busy sipping that Chardonnay to notice the Eagles just ran away. And people are still ain't at work. Maybe he's chilling in Dallas with all you jerks. Well, I'll take my beer and my barbecue over a snob with a plate full of goat cheese goo. I'd rather see a team that don't fold in December than hear about them boys from a wine club member. Oh, Cowboys fans with your pinky out, talking about rings while your team's in doubt.
Bogusch weeps. He's got the road trip blues. Left behind, feeling like he's bound to lose. Perloff's off to San Antonio. Can't believe his eyes. But Bogusch stuck at home. His heartache amplifies. Betting against Wembyama, Perloff took the fall. But it's Bogusch left behind, feeling 10 feet tall. A loser in his own right, can't catch a break. Road trip dreams shattered, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. Bogusch counting the minutes, ticking like a clock.
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff Show. Wild weekend in my neighborhood. I live in downtown Brooklyn, Dumbo, Brooklyn, and there was a accident on the water. A ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge. It became a big national story. Literally 500 yards from my house. I saw the aftermath, and I noticed my neighborhood has a lot of attention, a lot of action. there was 20 fire trucks, 40 ambulances, 50 helicopters. So I didn't know what was going on. It was kind of scary. And then it turns out that a clipper ship with sails hit the bridge. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen the story, look it up. It was crazy, right?
So it was wild because I saw your tweet first. And I'm like, man, Perloff is like right there. And then looking more into it, you got quoted in the Gotham as saying it looked like a ghost ship.
Yeah, this was an hour after the accident, or maybe probably 2 hours after the accident. No, it was dead. Like they got because there were fatalities. It was terrible. They got everybody off the ship immediately. A lot of people fell. And here's a big issue. Like, thank God the bridge was okay. That was a terrifying thing because there was an accident in Baltimore where somebody hit a bridge.
Yeah, the Key Bridge. That was last year.
So people, they don't mess around with this. It was a wake-up call. Like, wow, the city better get its game in order right here.
Right. So it was a Mexican naval ship, right? And it looked gorgeous. This massive
I saw the ship before the accident.
Right. You
couldn't
told
miss
me
it.
you were with your daughter, and it was just like being displayed, right?
You were talking to me, right? I'm like, oh my God, there's this gorgeous ship. Yeah.
And so the story is that it lost power. And then if you're in New York Harbor like that, you lose power. Now you're just subjected to the currents and whatever. And it was going backwards. They could not get it under control. And it was such a short amount of time before it ran into the bridge that there was just so much confusion. And that's what happened. And sadly, there were 2 fatalities. More people are injured. I just can't believe that it was right there. I mean, your neighborhood must have just been like going chaotic.
Oh, absolutely. Also, too, this neighborhood is right by the Brooklyn Bridge, so there's always activity.
Sure.
For example, during the protests, we're always the focal point. A lot of people protest in New York, and they come over the bridge. So we're used to a lot of helicopters overhead. This was unique, though, because this was a social media story. About an hour after it happened, everybody's like, can you believe this clip? It's amazing how fast news travels now. I mean, I basically said to my wife, I'm like, what's going on outside? She's like, I don't know, pull up Twitter, X, and find out. That's how we found out. Then we just walked right down. It was terrifying. But that being said,
and then they got the boat into the harbor. Like they got it to the side somehow to get everyone out. Yeah.
So I got 2 requests. One to go on the radio, which I said no to.
Who asked you to go on the radio?
WNYC, I think it's called.
Yeah, NPR.
Well, the reason, and then I go in on the Gothamist, which is a big local news outlet, like very local, because we have a friend who runs the local NPR station.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, we're looking for sources. Can I give them your name? I'm like, yeah, sure. But the radio, I was trying to pick up my daughter, and I was like, well, I'm coordinating with my friend Ryan to get her in from the Upper East Side. She was at a party. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do the radio.
Oh, man, I have friends over there.
Yeah, I have a lot of, I
have people listen to our show who work there. You might have messed up. You might have messed up a good relationship.
Why, what was I going to say? I didn't even see it.
Well, but you're, you live in that area. What you just told us, how, it can be crazy, but this was even sadder and all of that.
Yeah, there was nothing I really could have said. I didn't see the accident. I actually told her, I'm like, get this person who tweeted there was hundreds of people with their cameras out because it was a beautiful ship.
Yeah.
And they were all taking this video. I'm like, find those people. That's what I said. Do your work.
A guy I work with has a video of the ship coming right at him along the side of the river. He's on the other side of the bridge.
Oh, great, yeah.
So the ship just comes right across, takes the top of the sails off, and just nestles against like the Riverwalk there. And he just stands there the whole time. I'm like, dude, why did you not? And he's filming, and people are like scattering past him.
That dude was crazy.
And he just stayed there.
Well, the funny thing is, he's not alone.
No.
People film
anything for the shot.
Things now. They do not run. That was a notable thing. I was at the basketball court the next day talking about it. Everyone's like, yeah, did you notice? And nobody was running?
No.
Everybody took out their camera.
Same thing during the AB fight.
That's what I was going to bring up. Not to switch to something that seems a little bit more callous. This thing that happened with that Mexican naval ship is really sad. And hopefully the 22 people who are in critical condition can pull through. The Antonio Brown fight, on the other hand, which seems like pure nonsense, of him getting run up on, but he did have security guards who were around him. A lot of good that did. But there's a girl there who I saw taking footage, and it's like this blonde chick who seemed kind of petite, and she's basically getting trampled. She's laughing about it, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. It's like, get out of there. People are firing gunshots. What is going on with you? You're not some wartime correspondent where everyone runs away from the action and you're running towards it. Like, you're going to get caught up in something really dangerous.
Yeah, you're not going to become Anderson Cooper covering an AB fight.
Yeah, come on.
I think you guys are too late on this one. There is not a single thing that's not worth filming anymore. Content is king, and we are all content creators with our phones. Everybody wants to be famous.
No, I get it. And in citizen journalism and getting the shot, and I understand it, but sometimes not everyone is meant to put themselves in harm's way.
It's not citizen journalism. It's I want attention off of what I'm putting on my phone. That's the entire country right now.
That Antonio Brown fight is just, it's not going well for this guy.
I got to be honest, I didn't even click on that story. I'm like, this is all you got for Antonio Brown being involved in a fight? Was it?
The video is insane.
Yeah, I mean.
He kicked his own security guard.
Yeah, who was also laughing. I'm just like, you guys are really taking this not seriously. And then he's running around, allegedly, with a gun.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
shooting in the air,
And then
allegedly.
shots go off. I'm like.
Yeah.
AB is?
Yes.
Yeah. That's why you should probably click on that video. It's
Nah,
crazy.
I'm not. This is just sad at this point.
Yeah, it's been sad.
Yeah.
Is it sad or is it just like, I don't know. I just feel like, and I do believe that I'm one of those conspiracy theorists who think Devonta's perfect hit did change this man.
Definitely.
But at a certain point, though, it does just become like whatever happens to him, happens to him, right? Like, there are people who have tried to reach out to him at this point. We know Tom Brady has, right?
Yeah.
And if this is the life he wants to live, then whatever happens to him happens to him. This is it's ridiculous now.
It just seems
he's endangering other people.
Well, definitely. It always just seemed to me, and by the way, he was accused of some pretty bad stuff before that Vontaze perfect hit, but but accusations. It just feels like when you watch this, wow, this is not going to end well. Clearly.
Definitely.
Unless there's some kind of light that gets seen or something.
I remember after the perfect hit, he came on the Rich Eisen show 3 weeks later. His eyes were bright red, and he had never slurred his words. He was slurring his words. I'm like, he's still in a concussion. It was terrible. I agree. This is, and what does he call his Twitter feed? CTESPN?
Yes.
He's making a joke out of it, but it is tough.
Yeah, no one's laughing with him. Bogusch has headlines for us. Happier things happening yesterday.
Well, it depends on who you are. Ain't no droughts to bust for Scottie Scheffler. A third major title yesterday at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, and now the third shortest gap between wins number 1 and 15 since 1950. Only Tiger and Jack Nicklaus were quicker.
You're always battling yourself, and you're always trying to figure things out, and you're never going to perfect it. And I can be kind of a crazy person sometimes when it comes to putting my mind to something. And in golf, there's always something you can figure out. There's always something you can do better. And, it's a great challenge, and, it's a lot of fun.
Scheffler ended up with a 5-shot win after starting the back nine tied with Jon Rahm, who ended up playing the last 3 holes at 5 over par to finish at 4 under for the tournament. Game 7 in Oklahoma City began 21-10 Nuggets. It ended 125-93 Thunder. Nikola Jokic took only 9 shots, scored only 20 points as his team faded into the offseason. So what's next?
From now, next couple of days, there's going to be a lot of beer probably.
Oh, it's the Manny plan. A couple of beers.
Delicious.
The Thunder, meanwhile, with a quick turnaround into their first Western Conference final in 9 years. The T-Wolves in town for Game 1 tomorrow night. Game 7 on ice in Toronto was a 6-1 Panthers rout. Florida took control with 3 second-period goals. Now they face the Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final. The Leafs, meanwhile, still haven't gotten past the second round since 2002. And, of course, their last Stanley Cup remains 1967. Last night in the Bronx, Pete Alonso had the Yankees on the money line.
Swinging a grounder to first. Dominguez breaks for the plate. Alonso has it, but he throws it away. He throws it to the backstop. Dominguez scores.
The tie-breaking run in the bottom of the 8th. Howie Rose, Mets Radio. Alonso's throw home, not even close.
That's a play that I usually make, and I can make pretty routinely, but I just I had my feet set, and I just didn't get my fingers on top of the baseball, and it sailed on me. So, it's bad throw on me, and this one's 100% on me.
Bad throw.
By the way,
you threw that to New Jersey, bro.
Okay. Pete Alonso's lucky his ankle's still attached to his foot at this point because of the collision that happened at first base. Was that the inning before?
Inning before, yeah.
Inning before. Because the,
Huascar Brazaban.
Brazaban, who's on the mound, I forgot who it was. Austin Wells? Bellinger. It was Bellinger. And he's running out, Brazaban, like it's a comebacker that ricochets off of him. So Brazaban grabs it, the pitcher, running towards first. Alonso, though, still is waiting to catch the toss from Brazaban. Never comes. Dude runs into first base. So there's 3 guys at first base all at once. and Brazoban steps on Pete Alonso's ankle. That's like disaster most of the time.
Yeah, we just saw Tristan Cass's trip over a guy slightly and tear his patella tendon. He's very lucky. Like, very lucky that wasn't worse.
That could have been so bad. Anyway, defend Pete.
It was bad other ways. It was an 8-2
I said
Yankee
rooting for Pete
win.
Alonso is like rooting for a Labrador Retriever. In a good way.
Is it?
Yankees scored 5 more runs after Alonso's error, including Cody Bellinger's grand slam. The Mets went 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position, leaving 5 men on base.
What were Juan Soto's numbers this weekend?
And Manny Vroom. I might need your help on this one. Joseph Newgarden and Will Power failing inspection for Indy 500 qualifying yesterday. Apparently, they changed something on the body of their cars, presumably to get an aerodynamic advantage. Team Penske also losing Scott McLaughlin to a crash during practice. So
Scottie.
that trio will start 10th, 11th, and 12th in the race this weekend.
That's tough for Penske.
Rookie Robert Schwartzman, how about this? Won the pole yesterday. The first rookie to do so since 1983. And not just a rookie, this is his first professional race on an oval track. He had been an F1 prospect before now. And now he's the pole sitter for the Indy 500.
Once again, is Manny in my ear alone, or is this going out over air?
That was all over the air.
Oh, boy.
Many things.
Sorry, America.
Anyone got the Indy 500 on their bucket list? Have you been?
Sorry about that, America.
I follow some reporters in Indiana. I feel like the promotion for this has been happening for 2 weeks. I really thought the race happened already. I can't believe that it's still happening.
It's always Memorial Day, EJ.
I know. Oh, I didn't know that.
No, but
Clearly I didn't know that.
They do get there and like set up shop.
Yeah, no, like there's people who have been like covering, they've been like doing different things every day at the racetrack. And I was like, oh, this must be like this weekend. I thought it was this weekend. Now I know it's not.
Can't even blame the pina coladas on that one.
No,
because they're
can't.
virgin pina coladas.
It's all the sugar.
Just drunk on enchiladas, baby.
888-710-4ISN. Bogusch, thank you so much. Coming up, Perloff asked a question that to me was not only hilarious, but how much truth is to it? We'll ask you this question next.
I didn't even know you could talk.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This is a funny scene yesterday where Scottie Scheffler wins the PGA. This is a year and 1 day after he did not win last year, but it was the most memorable moment I think that golf's had in a while when he was arrested for, what was it, reckless driving? I don't remember what the actual charges were. Everything got dropped.
It wasn't resisting arrest, was it? But
that may have been part of it. Now we have to go back to that hilarious story. It turned out to be hilarious because no one was seriously hurt, but it was a hell of a story. No one will ever forget it. But you asked me this question yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, is Scottie Scheffler the most boring superstar? But I didn't think it was a question.
The most boring superstar.
Doesn't anyone not think that?
Okay, but you realize how funny that sounds because it's kind of an oxymoron. If you're a superstar, ipso facto, aren't you already interesting
Tim
because
Duncan
of
was boring.
how you play?
Yeah. Wasn't Tim Duncan a boring superstar?
Well, but he won a lot. So are you talking about how they perform or how they are off the court? Like someone who's quiet?
Well, it's a
or Tim Duncan, the big fundamental.
It's a combination of both because Tim Duncan was boring off the court and boring on the court, and Scheffler is completely boring off the course, except for the arrest, obviously, and he's kind of boring on the course too. He's just steady Eddie.
But doesn't the winning make it not boring?
Not really,
by definition.
Yeah, I mean, like if he could chase Tiger, yes, that would be interesting. But no. I mean, I think. Honestly, I love the analogy. He's Tim Duncan. Like Tim Duncan won 4 titles. It was still boring. Well, in the first title, it was boring by the last title. Scheffler, unless he really, really starts to make history, it's kind of fun to see him because he was such a heavy favorite win. But still, it's still kind of boring. Like there are exciting golfers for various reasons, and he ain't one of them.
Well, I think to be an exciting golfer, you have to have a lot of drama. Sometimes with Scottie, it feels like there's again the arrest was silly, but there feels like there's not a lot of drama with him. When he's winning, he's really winning. Now, yesterday he did get a little dicey. He was, tied with John Rahm at one point, and it was definitely, he was beyond pumped up about it. He's spiking his hat afterwards on the green, carrying his kid into the clubhouse, and then just putting the kid down on the ground, which is just funny to me as a parent. But I'm trying to think who else falls in this category. I guess Tim Duncan, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, Oh, man. Those Google boring superstars. But one thing about all the other golfers, I had this argument with Bogusch in the break. They bring something. Tiger hit the ball further. Rory smashes the ball. Phil's a lefty. Bubba Watson, you never knew what that guy was going to do. There are a lot of golfers who are sort of more unpredictable, where Scottie Scheffler is just steady. Like, that's his superpower. He's the big fundamental. He's the Tim Duncan. Okay, most boring superstar. Gosh, here's Tim Duncan and the 10 most boring players in the NBA. Chauncey Billups, Al Jefferson, Ray
How old
Allen.
is this list?
Al Jefferson.
That's the best list I could come up with. 2009. I mean, Tim Duncan's been out of the league for a while. 2018.
Al Jefferson.
Yeah, he was
doesn't
so
feel
boring.
like he should be getting us stray this morning at all.
Yeah, just guys who play underneath the rim. That's what Scottie Scheffler is. He's like a 6'10" center who barely ever dunks the ball.
Wait, is this game boring though? How's a golf game boring?
Because he generally like there's nothing remarkable about it. There's nothing that he does. I'm not a super golf expert. I know he drives the ball far, but he doesn't have like a signature move or a flair or anything. Like a lot of these golfers, Tiger was not boring because he just destroyed the ball and was then just so clutch around the green. And he was killing people by 20 strokes and all that. Yeah, I just don't see that. Name another boring golfer. Colin Morikawa was a little boring, but he's kind of young. So I don't know. I've just heard that all over the place. Everybody who follows golf is like, Scotty's boring, but he's great.
I think it's also personality, right?
Yeah, I mean, that adds a lot to it.
Because like, why is Rory considered interesting? It's like because he's blown a lot of leads. He's won a lot. Yeah. He's lost a lot. The funny thing to me about
Rory
Scottie
pipes the ball too, by the way.
Scheffler is that he's already very casually put in the same conversation as Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods. When Jack has 18 majors, Tiger is 15, and Scottie is 3. And I get projecting about the next guy and the next thing, but it feels real early to be doing this.
Well, here's some numbers. 141 weeks of world number one. In the last 82 starts, he's had 45 top fives, 18 wins, 3 majors, 2 players. He's only missed the cut 4 times. He's the biggest favorite to win a major since Tiger in 2008. He's dominating the sport right now because he's, as Jerry Jones said, hanging around the rim in every tournament. He probably would have won that PGA if he didn't get arrested too. He is really steady right now.
It's such a funny thing to say. He probably would have won too had he not gotten arrested.
Yeah, honestly,
something
he was
we don't
hot
usually
right then.
say about golfers.
Yeah, I mean, there's some projection, but he's certainly better than anybody else playing right now. I mean, there's no doubt he's the number one.
Well, but Koepka's got more majors.
No, but I mean, right now, I'm saying coming into a tournament, he is by far the number one player in the world. There's no doubt. You're not going to pick anyone. I think some people were tempted to pick Rory in the last tournament, but Scheffler, you're not even going to get good odds. I mean, the next major, it's going to be. Actually, I'm not sure where the Open Championship is, but you come into a tournament, aren't you watching him? Isn't he the guy? I mean, which is not boring, ironically. But you come into a tournament and you're obviously, well, where's Scheffler? Where's he going to be? He's going to be there on the final day. Is there anyone even threatening him on a consistent basis? Maybe DeChambeau?
I was going to say Bryson was there yesterday. John Rahm, obviously, unfortunately couldn't, had a bit of a meltdown yesterday, but he was right there with him. EJ, you want to throw up on the poll question? Scottie Scheffler, the most boring superstar ever. You want him going head-to-head with Duncan in this poll?
Well, I got to do some homework on this. There's got to be other boring stars, right?
See, yeah, I think
I
definition,
thought the Patriots were super boring as a style of play.
I mean, the Klitschko's, talking about boxing.
No, they were interesting.
Really? The Klitschko's?
They were huge and dated a celebrity and Hayden Panettiere.
Their boxing matches were not that exciting. That was a really rough time for the heavyweight division.
I just think by definition, if you are a superstar, that means you're exciting.
I think, Maggie, you were right about one thing, though. It's a combination of off the field and on the field. It's got to be, if Tim Duncan was super wild off the court, then I think it would have been more fun to watch him.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, no, I know.
That is an alternate universe that I can't wrap my brain around. Tim Duncan is what? Dennis Rodman? It just doesn't compute.
Tim Duncan walking around the Riverwalk in San Antonio.
Well, that's normal.
Enjoying his life.
I don't want him to catch a stray today. But
the nightlife on the Riverwalk.
Oh, the nightlife.
He looks like he enjoys nightlife now. His dreads look fantastic.
I think he's home playing video games.
Tim Duncan does seem a little antisocial.
I loved his Adidas commercial back in the day, Foot Locker. Day of greatness. I'm jumping off the walls. I just knocked over a plant.
Kawhi Leonard. Kind of
Kind of boring. Yeah.
Superstar.
Oh, that's a good one.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
We all believe that he only ate apples.
Yeah.
I believed it.
That's actually kind of interesting, though.
Board man gets paid.
It's like, man, something weird's happening with that guy. Coming up, Caitlin and Angel.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
And look how Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese, and Angel Reese gets right up into Caitlin Clark. Afterwards has something to say as Clark walks away. We know there are always increased eyeballs, energy, and attention around the matchups between Reese and Clark, and Angel Reese is still going after Caitlin Clark in the aftermath.
That was Ryan Rucco on ESPN, and yeah, WNBA kicked off this weekend, and you have the Sky and the Fever matching up, Pearl, so maybe we should have been expecting these fireworks. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. That was one of the only interesting things that happened in this game. The final score was 93-58, so it was not really a tight one. The Fever won it going away, but here we are again. It feels like another mini chapter in this rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And actually, let's hear from both ladies first before we give you our opinion. Here is Caitlin saying the flagrant on Angel Reese was just a good take foul.
It's just a good take foul, you know. Either Angel gets wide open 2 points or, we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
Okay, and Angel not really into talking about it after the game.
Basketball player, refs got it right. No more.
Okay, so there was something that preceded this, though, Pearl, which was Angel she pushed Aaliyah Boston, was it, in the back? And you see Caitlin being really demonstrative, saying, like, where's the foul there? Which you would have thought a push in the back would actually get called. Refs missed it, and then 1 second later, Caitlin is there with the hard take foul. Now, the fact that it got upgraded to a flagrant is less interesting to me than what this means, which is, again, this rivalry is going to be front and center. Silly me. I actually thought some of this was going to die down this year. That is not going to happen because now there's allegations that some of the fans in Indiana were saying racist things to Angel. There was some allegations that maybe the arena was playing some sort of sounds that were inappropriate, trying to get her off her game while she's at the free throw line. I can't imagine the WNBA, who's been all about inclusivity and been all about doing things as PC as possible. I can't imagine they would have, that something weird would have happened there with some weird noises that were coming when Angel was at the free throw line. I just can't imagine that a team would be so stupid to do that. But my question to you is this. I think there were a lot of people turned off by the discourse around this, and understandably so. Do Caitlin and Angel have to start playing in bigger games for this rivalry to matter again? And it matters, but to matter in a real way. Because we can, you can always play the race card if you want to. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that feels like the low-hanging fruit in some ways. It would be better off if this thing could really get ratcheted up, because think about how it started. March Madness. All the stakes in the world. Now you're into the WNBA where, yeah, games do matter. They only play, a 42-game season or what have you. But I think the games have to matter more for this to not turn people off, because I did see that a lot this weekend. EJ, you were one of them tweeting about it, just saying, I'm not here for this part of the rivalry.
Well, yeah, but I think there's no rivalry because Chicago they were terrible last year. And I watched some of that game. I'm like, oh, Indiana's coming. So what is a rivalry if Chicago's not in the playoffs in Indiana? It's sort of to your point. Of course, they have to play in the playoffs. But I don't even think that they're completely different positions. This is going to be, yes, there's going to be some heat to the rivalry because of the history and obviously both emotional players. But there's no way she's going to need a new rival in the short term, unless Chicago gets way better really fast. But you can't have a rival on one of the best teams in the league and one of the worst teams in the league. There's no rivalry.
Right. I mean, listen, individual rivalries, though.
Not in NBA. Like, how can you have, you can't have, say, in the NBA, a 62-win team star rivalrying with an 18-win team. I don't know if Chicago's that bad, but that's not going to work. Like, it's going to go away and fast.
There is a lot of history. I don't know. I think rivalries help all sports. I really do. Whether it's, one you get, like, it always helps to have as many stakes as possible. I'm just wondering, is there a moment where this starts to turn people off as opposed to bringing more people to the sport? And I'm not saying that Saturday was one of those moments because there is an investigation going on. And obviously you don't want anything like that to happen where, an athlete's subjected to anything racial. They're on the court or off the court or anytime. But I'm just wondering if this has become, it's not even about the basketball anymore. And if that ends up turning people off as opposed to what rivalry should do, which is bring people to the table.
This not to be controversial, but it doesn't really matter because if Caitlin does well, then the WNBA is going to just continue to explode.
That's true.
She brought all the eyeballs, and they're going to stay there for her. So yeah, you're right. You're right. I do think some people are turned off, but I think if Caitlin continues to play well, and if that team is in real contention, then forget it. This is going to be a new level of success for the WNBA, and it's going to be totally irrelevant, right? Like, so it's all about Caitlin.
It's all about Caitlin.
I mean, like Angel.
You and I have argued about this.
If Angel could get to the finals, then it'd be about Angel and Caitlin. But this really looks like it's setting up the way the offseason went. It feels like Indiana Fever, can they take the next step? That to me feels like that's going to get eyeballs to WNBA. Yes, this gets a certain kind of eyeballs, but I think that'll fade away if Caitlin can play very well. I think the league is going to have an incredible year. Regardless of this. Yeah, this is a terrible look, what's being alleged.
Yeah.
But it's not going to matter in the long run. Like, this is just sort of an big online story. The media will focus on it. But the reality is that you're going to get a lot of eyeballs if Caitlin's great this year.
Yeah, and you got the Fever look much better. Obviously, the New York Liberty. You've got Minnesota. You've got Las Vegas. Like, you have these other really good teams.
None of those matter.
Well,
it's
I don't know.
They matter as I'm so sorry, but it's just they matter as in how they are in contention with Caitlin.
But right
for
now,
the casual fan, which is what the WNBA is trying to get.
That's fine. But right now, for that casual fan, the Caitlin Angel rivalry is still definitely a thing. I mean, you're remembering back to their days at LSU and Iowa where this thing was created because of the high profile games they were in. This was not some regular season game in college basketball. They're playing for a championship. They're playing in March Madness type stakes.
But I think it would have exploded. I think those ratings would have exploded with just Caitlin. That's now that I look back on it. Yeah. I mean, because there were games where Angel wasn't in where they set all-time ratings records.
Right. I do think it helped, though. But now, where I'm looking at the discourse from Saturday, I'm wondering, do we need to get back to Caitlin and Angel playing for much bigger things? Now, this was first game of the season. Listen, clearly the WNBA thinks it's a thing. Why would they put it as the first Fever game of the season if they didn't want to start with a bang? But I think we need higher stakes games for the rivalry to continue to take next steps, is what I'm saying.
I disagree. I think you need Caitlin. I don't think you need the rivalry.
I'll be honest. I think Caitlin is moved past this. And I think the
She's
Fever,
transcended the rivalry?
The Fever are so much better than the Sky. And with all due respect to Angel Reese, who is a good player, she's so much better than Angel Reese. So at this point, like, to me, like, that's why when I tweeted that on Sunday, I'm like, I'm not doing this. And I'm not saying I'm not doing this on the show. Obviously, I'll do whatever on the show. But just this idea that all we have now is toxicity with this. There is no more basketball.
Well, because they're not playing for anything.
Right, but also because the teams it's not competitive. Like, that game was a 75-72 barn burner, and then Caitlin gives that hard foul. You know what? Okay, competitive game. These are two teams in the East that are trying to make a statement for themselves. Then there's something there. Like, It's a blowout game. The game was not competitive. Caitlin, she ascended to an MVP candidate last year. Angel Reese had a very good year, all-star, but still, she's a young player. She's grown into the league. Like, I think anything around this is no longer going to be about basketball, which is where only toxicity comes in. So that's why I'm with Perloff. It's like she's going to find, whether it's Sabrina Ionescu, whether it's going to be the Liberty as a team, it's going to be someone else that's going to be the next foil for Caitlin that we'll get to. We're not there yet, but we just got to wait till the playoffs, just like we do with the NBA.
So here's an interesting thing about that, and I'd love to hear from people at 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. It's a fair point. We just had a conversation last segment, if you weren't listening to it. Perloff asked, is Scottie Scheffler the most boring superstar ever, right? We had some fun with that. Tim Duncan, Mike Trout, these guys are boring. You're right, Caitlyn has transcended Angel here, but Angel's on my TV a lot. She is in commercials, national ads. It's kind of the opposite of Scottie Scheffler, who I know has got his Nike commercials and stuff.
Angel Reese is not. There's nothing boring about Angel Reese.
No, exactly. She
Yeah.
has a way, and by the way, she's a national champion. I do want to respect the fact that she has done winning and stuff like that, and this Chicago Sky team is just not where the Fever or Liberty are right now, right? Angel's not going away in our lives. She has a magnetism about her. People want to follow what she's doing. I don't remember anyone else at Vogue magazine who was following their WNBA draft. That wasn't a whole WNBA thing. That was an Angel thing. So
I don't know about that.
You can
Now,
say that Caitlyn has passed her, and that's fine, basketball-wise, okay, but Angel's not going anywhere, guys, even if she's not on a great team.
But she's one of many stars. And Vogue follows now. All of them are doing fashion walks. I drove by the Barclays Center the other day, and there was a bunch of players and these sort of model shots. I mean, you have to remember the highest-rated college basketball game did not have Angel in it. It had Caitlyn in it by far.
Yeah, but you needed the Caitlyn
No, you
Angel
didn't. I don't-
setup for the big. It built.
I mean,
it.
Angel Reese has the most. She has the most followers of any WNBA player on Instagram. She is very famous. I get that.
I mean, Caitlyn. I think it's almost underselling what Caitlyn's done for the sport to say it's about Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese.
I'm saying that in college, I think that where this rivalry was built was college.
Yeah, but
Angel was a huge part of getting that and taking it to another step.
But-
Not Dawn Staley in South Carolina,
Yeah.
Angel.
I think I think it was Caitlyn and whoever was playing Caitlyn.
Okay.
But then why is Angel so popular?
She's but there are other. She's
No,
very
but
popular, but she's great.
You can't say that the other
Because
people.
she got the showcase of playing against Caitlyn Clark.
Okay,
And beat
but,
her.
But that's the world we live in now, right?
Right, like
she is-
if Angel happened to be in college when Caitlyn Clark wasn't there, then she would not have gotten this popular.
I agree with that. I'm just saying that the reality though is that she is. So,
But I think she's
We're here now. She's in a McDonald's ad that runs every 5 seconds.
Right,
you know?
right. But I'm just saying the whole league is dependent on Caitlyn to some extent.
I guess my point is that I just feel like with Angel Reese, like now, like she needs to have her own story. Like I think to be honest, when it comes to a lot of the issues she had, I remember last week she didn't want to answer a question. They asked her about Caitlyn Clark.
Yeah.
Like I think it's also upon everyone to also follow her story beyond Caitlyn Clark because she has a lot of fans. She has a lot of followers. It's going to be a lot longer of a journey for her to become the superstar she wants to be and for the Chicago Sky to be that. But people are invested in that. Like I don't think that neither of them they don't need each other anymore. Like, Angel's already become a huge star. She has a big podcast, all these followers. Caitlyn Clark is obviously a mega star. Like, again, all we have with Caitlyn versus Angel is just toxicity. You got guys saying, oh, Angel must hate Caitlyn Clark. Well, like, why would we assume that? Because she got fouled hard on a basketball court and she didn't like it? That's what happens in every basketball game.
Also, I don't mind when athletes hate each other. I think that, I don't know if they do or they don't, but that's not like a character flaw to me.
And like, who cares? Like, if she hates
Jordan
her, fine.
hated everybody.
Yeah.
Like, we praise him for that. He hasn't picked up a basketball in 20 years.
Right. But wait,
let me ask you, EJ, doesn't Angel need to win to keep this going, though? Like, I think maybe WNBA is a little less dependent on wins, but in other sports, like if you don't win, you kind of fall off, I think.
Well, to be fair, Caitlyn's never won anything. Angel did win a national champion.
We're projecting that Caitlyn will win in the WNBA. Like if the team is really bad for a few years, I feel like that would kind of hurt her brand a little bit.
I do feel like, and with all respect to women athletes, I do feel like there's a other side and there's a sex appeal side that allows you to kind of still remain famous without winning, right? We've seen Anna Kournikova. Like, how many races did Dana Patrick have where she didn't win yet and she was still a mega star? Like, I think with
has
male
Livy Dunn won anything?
Right,
I have no idea.
Right, like with male athletes,
but we don't talk about them on sports shows. We just click on their Instagram photos.
Well, we talked about Danica.
We didn't talk about Livy Dunn's career.
I'm just
we
saying.
talk about her and Paul Skeens a lot on the show.
No, but we don't talk about
the gymnastics.
Yeah, we don't talk about the gymnastics. We don't talk about the Cavenders. Hey, the Cavenders had a triple-double the other day.
Right, but could Livy Dunn do a podcast tomorrow and be super famous and stuff? Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think there's two lanes. There's the athletic lane and then there's the attractive lane. And, I'm not sure which. Angel was in both lanes. But I do think she has to keep on winning to keep this flame burning bright. Definitely. By the way, I'm not saying that they're going to be bad for 5 years. I also wonder about her as a player. She is an incredible rebounder.
Yeah.
But she is really inconsistent around the rim as a shooter. It's kind of funny to watch. She reminds me a little bit of Rodman. Like, will she go down as the greatest rebounder in WNBA history? I think that's interesting. It might take some time. I just don't think, and Maggie, I think you guys, I just don't think this rivalry is going to be a thing.
And that poses a good question, Pearl, because could Dennis Rodman have been a rival for Michael Jordan? Like a person who doesn't score, who rebounds a lot? Like, I don't know if we consider that person a rival. Like, we never, no one ever seriously considered Lance Stevenson a rival to LeBron James. He was an irritant, right? Like, he was not, even though he was a good player, but he did his role. He was a dirty work guy who played physical. Like, Angel's going to have to become like a superstar, not just on the glass, but on scoring and other things in order to be that kind of person.
Also, does she have to be a shooting guard like Caitlin or a point guard like Caitlin? Does it? But I guess Bird and Magic didn't really cover each other that much.
Right.
I was going to say, I mean, I think Angel having a national championship catapults her in a stratosphere that's way different than Lance Stevenson. Lance Stevenson, 4 city championships in a row, guys. I know what you're thinking, but
yeah, girl.
I still think that she is a big part of this. Now, EJ, you're right. The toxicity. I mean, you want this to be more about basketball again. Right. And I don't know, to your point, if the Sky are ready to do that this year.
Yeah, and also, too, you can't have, like, are Michael Jordan and Karl Malone really going to be natural rivals? I think the position thing matters. I mean, they're very different players. It's funny that they ended up underneath the basket on that play at the same time. Like, why is I was actually thinking about, like, why is Caitlin doing the hard foul?
Well, that's because Angel pushed Aaliyah Boston out of the way, and someone had to do the take foul.
Caitlin, you're Steph Curry. Just stay out of that, Knicks. What are you doing?
Well, that's Curry, LeBron. They're not guarding each other.
Curry I'm saying Curry.
They played in the finals many years, though.
Curry hasn't done a take foul in 18 years of his career. He's like, he should have just given her the layup. I don't know why she was bothering with that. But anyway.
You want to send her to the line. 888-710-4ISN, or take foul, excuse me. George is in L.A. George, what do you think?
Well, I think that Caitlin is the golden goose, and you don't want to ruin that, and she's a megastar, like EJ was saying. I think Reese is okay, but she's way too petty. And I think that if she doesn't get her game going and their team doesn't get better, she will eventually fade away. There's a lot of good players in the WNBA, but Caitlin has made them so much money and given them more chances at life and a better living and everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, George, Caitlin is undeniable. And thank you for that call. And I think Caitlin came along at a time when, her game, how it transcended. We were ready for it. The league was more ready for it in terms of, being able to build around. I just actually listened to a good interview with Kathy Engelbert with Bill Simmons and talking about the growth of the league and all of that. And they're in a fantastic spot. Is Angel going to go away? I don't think so. I think there is something about her that is really fascinating to people beyond the Bayou Barbie and, how beautiful she is. And that definitely matters for female athletes. I wish it didn't, but it does matter. And they can profit off of that, which is totally cool. But there's a magnetism about Angel. There is.
She's a great personality, no doubt. But I think, it could be a great rival. I'm thinking Juju Watkins, if she gets healthy and comes into the WNBA, like that's the kind of rival that I think Caitlin needs. Like a huge scorer. And like then we get, not quite Bird Magic. Because Bird, I don't know if she's quite good enough. I don't know.
Quite good enough?
Yeah. I mean, I think like you need a transcendent. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure that she's going to be. Is she as good as Caitlin? I don't think so.
Well, it could be Caitlin versus a team. That's why I keep mentioning the Liberty because it was Jordan versus the Pistons, right?
But what about Juju Watkins? Because she could come in and be the best player in the league.
But she's not coming in for another year.
Yeah,
next year, right?
Yeah. Well, she's also come off a knee injury. So
if she's healthy. But she is very special. Where I think that's what Caitlin. We need another singular superstar guy, someone who can score. Like A'ja Wilson can score a lot, but she's taller. You need a guard who can fire up people. Nobody likes a big man. Can we also say that too? Like.
That's working against Angel, you think?
Yeah, it's like the NBA. Like nobody likes Carl. Nobody's like, man, I really want to play like Karl Malone or Shaq.
People like Wemby.
People want to play like Shaq. Shaq's probably the only exception, though.
No, but you can't. Like when you're a kid in your backyard, you can't pretend to be Shaq. You could pretend to be Steph Curry.
Right.
You could pretend to be Caitlin Clark. So.
Quickly, Neil's in San Diego. Neil, you want to weigh in on the Caitlin Angel rivalry?
Yeah. Good morning. I think that if you're just talking basketball. like you guys have already said, there's no rivalry whatsoever. It's not even close. But I think when you're talking all the non-basketball things and the overall stuff, it's a big rivalry because it reminds me of like the WWF where Angel is totally the heel.
She said that. She's like, I'll be the villain, and Caitlyn could be the baby face.
Yep, that's what it boils down to in a nutshell, I think. And you saw it in the game.
But that kind of implies that you don't think there's any authenticity to it. WWF, that's scripted.
I think there's authenticity. Like, people can play the heel and still be authentic about it, and that can be their angle. Everybody's got an angle.
Neil, you're right. Very 2025 answer. Everyone's got a brand.
Can we?
The best wrestling feuds are the ones that are, have some truth to them.
I think we all need to be a little bit on the record, too, here. I actually thought it was not a terrible flagrant call. I don't want to put that on social media because of Caitlyn. Like, yeah, it was a hard foul. Did it have to be a flagrant? No, but you could easily give that a flagrant. I thought Angel also flopped a little bit. She definitely played it up with the arm fling. So I think both. Yeah, I think that was the debate. Was everyone was so mad that they gave her a flagrant, like a lot of people, and then other people thought Angel flopped. I thought it was a normal kind of play. Like it could have gone either way. I know people disagree strongly.
Yeah, let's go to JT in Atlanta. He disagrees with you. What's up, JT?
Yeah, what's going on? Of course I disagree with Perloff. Like, first off, let's just talk about it. Kobe and Tim Duncan were rivals, and they didn't guard each other. They weren't. So I think you just have to be the best player on a great team, and your teams are competitive against each other consistently to create a rivalry. It doesn't have to be you guarding each other per se. It's not that doesn't necessarily create the rivalry to me.
Yeah,
do you carry your team to a victory over mine?
Yeah, KG and Duncan really got at each other. There were players that Duncan really rivaled with. It was not Kobe. Like, there were guys that covered Duncan.
But they weren't playing for anything. The Spurs and the Lakers were going to get it for titles every year, and they were the one preventing each other, and that's what creates a real rivalry for me. It's not about what in the regular season, how many you score 30 points against my 35. That's not really a rivalry to me. Who's preventing who from winning?
Yeah, but I think it helps when like Wilt and Bill Russell covered each other. Like, I don't know, they're so different.
I get that. I'm with JT though. I think it's got to be bigger basketball moments. JT, thanks for the call, dude. Bigger basketball moments. But let's be honest, rivalries come in all shapes and sizes. It could be one person versus a team, Jordan against the Pistons, LeBron against the Pistons back when he was the first time in Cleveland. It can also be a rivalry against someone who's not playing anymore. Jordan LeBron is one of the great rivalries we had. Guys never were on the court together. Russell and Chamberlain. Sure, you can have that big man and big man. It can be anything. And I think the public has spoken that
I see what you're saying.
I don't say they like this rivalry, but they're sure as hell paying attention to it.
Yeah, but I mean, but they keep paying attention if Chicago doesn't get better? I mean, the greatest rivalries ever: Bird Magic, Wilt Russell, and what else was there? Jordan Isaiah in a sense.
Well, yeah, because that got personal too.
Yeah, and by the
Jordan
way,
blackballing Isaiah from the Olympic team allegedly.
I maybe I'm wrong. Like, I don't think Kobe and Duncan were really working on each other in the rivalry sets. Like, when you're on the basketball, when you have to cover somebody, like you're really talking to that person the whole time, and it gets way more heated. And big guys throwing elbows. I don't see this happening. I was actually surprised at Caitlyn. Again, what is Caitlin Clark doing a flagrant foul on? She should be Steph Curry. She should be running back and hitting a three. Well, stop playing defense, Caitlin.
And they did actually move her away from the scrum very, very fast.
Angel was it was a Gretzky. It was totally a Gretzky thing. Like, we are protecting you. Stay out.
888-710-4ISN. 888-710-4476. This was like a mini chapter in the Caitlin Angel rivalry. What do you think about this matchup? Does it need bigger stakes, bigger games to get you in? Are you in? Coming up, who stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend? It's the M&P 500 next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Back on the Maggie Perloff Show every week. Every Monday, we do the M&P 500. Stock up, stock down. And a very, very, very busy weekend in sports. Maggie, why don't you get us started? Stock up.
I mean, stock up's got to be Brock Purdy, right? I mean, Friday evening, afternoon, depending on what coast you were on, puts pen to paper. 5 years, $265 million with $181 million guaranteed. You know, amazing story. No longer a Cinderella story in my mind, though. And once you make that much money, now the pressure is on even more than it already was. It's not house money anymore. Wow, Brock, what a great bargain. What a great deal. You're not a bargain anymore. So can you carry the offense? But no doubt, stock up. Brock, can I hold $1? That was a pretty lucrative weekend for the young man.
Yeah, I mean, literally stock up.
Yeah, literally buy stock in Brock Purdy. Well, now you'd be buying at the top of the market, so don't buy now.
Okay, I'll go stock up with a little hint of a stock down. It's a stock of what could have been. Journalism won the Preakness. Crazy final lap. It was so exciting, but it makes you think, what if the Derby winner, what if journalism had won the Derby and was going for it? It's a sport where it's funny because you want the Triple Crown, and now often the Derby winner doesn't even show up at the Preakness. But it was a great, exciting race on Saturday, and it's, you know, this is the joke that's been made a million times. Finally, a win for journalism.
Yeah.
La, la, la. But that was a really exciting race.
It was really good. If the stock goes up, though, the stock has to go down. And I felt bad for this guy a little bit because it's not his fault. But stock down Trey Lance. As if it wasn't bad enough that you were once going to be the heir apparent to the kingdom in San Francisco for the 49ers, Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Not only is that not you, you're not on that team. You're now on your third team. Actually, I had to look up.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is a backup now on the LA Chargers.
I was actually,
really?
Yeah.
He was psyched to get that deal, too, because he took forever.
Wasn't he a Cowboy like 2 weeks ago?
I know.
No, they did not. They didn't do that route this offseason.
Yeah, they got Joe Milton. But for Trey Lance to have to sit there and watch Brock Purdy sign a 5-year, $265 million deal, as if going to the Super Bowl wasn't enough to watch Brock in the Super Bowl, and then all of this, like, it's got to be devastating for Lance. I hope he's got somebody to talk to, take care of his mentals, because if that was me, I think I'd have a hard time with it.
Trey Lance went to college at North Dakota State. He has made $35 million in the NFL. You think he needs a psychologist?
Brock Purdy is about to make $181 million guaranteed. Yes.
Trey Lance is thrilled about the fact that he got any money out of this whole thing. Trey Lance is not, it's not like Trevor Lawrence, who was the number one recruit in the country in 8th grade. Trey Lance was a North Dakota State quarterback who went number 3 overall and got a $35 million contract. He's not regretted. He's not mad about anybody else's money. He got plenty of money. No?
It's different, man. I mean, I'd love $35 million. I'd love $35. But $35 million and $181 million guaranteed is just different. And it's also the opportunity that got lost. Like, they traded up for you.
Yeah.
Brock felt was Mr. Irrelevant, and now he's the one cashing in. Stock down Trey Lance.
Well, funny to me, like, it was never going to work with Lance. Now I say that, like, Shanahan thought he needed to go with a big mobile guy. Turned out Shanahan wants the Kirk Cousins type.
There's a tangential stock down, not just of Trey Lance off of Brock Purdy signing. The 2022 quarterback class outside of Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, just to name 3 of the ones we talked about that year. Rough.
Well, what, those guys are upset?
So those guys are stocked down. I mean, Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. These guys all went way, way sooner than he did, and they're all on their third teams.
Desmond Ridder should be thrilled that he got as many NFL starts as he has, which is kind of strange. I'm going to go stock down the NBA medical transparency. I don't know who to blame for this, but I'm seeing headlines that Aaron Gordon is basically out for not just this season, but next season, and then the dude shows up and is playing Sunday. Give me some real medical information. What on earth happened there? There was a month for a hamstring, but doubtful for Game 7, and then there he is, playing 24 minutes. That was one of the most confusing injury reports I've ever seen, Maggie.
Yeah, it was weird. It's like, and he's out there. I'm like, but is it... Should he be out there?
Should he be out there? And also the reports that he's going to need a month to recover. And we saw Steph Curry miss the entire series against the Timberwolves. It was a very strange weekend to figure out Aaron Gordon. And then you give him a lot of credit for toughing him out, but it made no difference. He was not himself.
Yeah, they are tricky, those injury reports. More stock up. How about stock up for law-abiding golfers at the PGA? Scottie Scheffler. No arrests, not like last year. No miscommunications with cops. No orange jumpsuits. No mugshots. Just a W. That's all. A little bit lower key, although dramatic a bit with Jon Rahm making it a bit of a tournament. Then he fell back. Law-abiding golfers at the PGA Championship, stock up.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually, I called Scheffler, boy, that was a very boring final 5. I was hoping somebody put pressure on him. What happened to our guy, Johnny Vega? Okay, Johnny Vegas ended up with -5. That guy was awesome. Did you follow him all weekend?
Well, only because you were talking to me about him on
And the MLB
Friday.
logo, you can't miss that MLB logo. Journeyman golfer who really showed up and was in the lead until I think he got through the second round in the lead. Anyway, that was to me the most exciting part. Are we doing stock up? Stock up Alex Caruso for Oklahoma City Thunder coming in and harassing the heck out of Nikola Jokic. That was another strange thing about the series. I'm like, wait, is Caruso covering Jokic? Kind of looks like Caruso's covering Jokic. And then guess what? He is, and it's working. I thought the officials were letting him get away with a lot. Kind of felt like they were beating up poor Joker.
I need to go home.
That is, I mean, that's the thing about the Thunder. If you told me Alex Caruso was going to be the Game 7 hero, I would have said, I don't see it, but he stepped up Lou Dort style.
It was really amazing that Jokic was 5 made field goals in a Game 7 for a guy who's thought to be the greatest player on earth. And a lot of it was Caruso, like really harassing him.
I know. It's so funny. They didn't need a big guy, which would be really, I mean, we have nothing but interesting matchups for the rest of these 2 series.
Is Jokic already back in Serbia? Can you get direct flight OKC to Serbia?
I'm sure he found one.
You got a layover there and where, Amsterdam?
I don't know. He did seem like he wanted to get hammered first.
He can do that on the flight.
Yeah, you're right.
It's called multitasking.
Long flight.
Okay, I got a stock down for you. It's the M&P 500. We do this every Monday. Stock down on Game 7 drama.
Yeah.
Knicks Celtics was not a Game 6. That was a Game 6. That was a laugher. Knicks roll over, but obviously the Celtics were hurt. Then you had the Game 7 yesterday of the Nuggets and the Thunder. Not a game. 1 point, I think it was a 42-point lead. Was that the biggest? And then also with the Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs, Hurricanes, not interesting either. So
kind of a bummer. I think we kind of got into this Maple Leaf story a little bit because we loved having Biz on the show. Paul Bissonnette, super Leafs fan.
Sorry, did I say Panthers? I said Hurricanes, not Panthers. Pardon me.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do one more stock down. What is with MLB? They just don't respect the trend of weight loss drugs, Maggie? Because Phillies reliever Jose Alvarado tested positive for exogenous testosterone, whatever that is. Exogenous testosterone. Man had a couple extra pounds.
Yeah.
And took a drug to lose weight, just like so many people in America have done. And now he's suspended 80 games in the postseason.
I know. What a disgrace.
Yes.
He could have just taken Ozempic like everyone else, the vitamin O.
I don't know what he took. I mean, what is
neither does he.
Exogenous testosterone.
What a disgrace.
Sounds very illegal.
What does exogenous mean?
I don't know, but I know what testosterone is. And
Makes
I know
you smarter.
You have an elevated level of it. You're getting busted.
I actually, like, in the year 2025 to get busted for this, like, that takes dedication. This guy really must have been doing a lot of stuff. I'm totally, like, I mean, come on, look around. Look how many home runs guys are hitting. Like, if you get busted these days, then you're really sloppy.
I'd love to know if Ozempic is on the ban list for leagues.
Well, that's a great question.
Can't be, right?
I wouldn't think so.
While I look that up, I've got another one for you. And actually, this is courtesy of EJ, back from Mexico. Said he had a revelation. So I'm assuming this is a stock up for me.
That's correct.
Okay. So it's a revelation of something that I said to you months ago that you didn't believe that now you believe.
We said it to the whole show. They said that there's an epidemic happening in the world that we need to fix. It is people farting on planes. And I was like, Maggie, some people are sick. You don't know what's going on. Like, what's the big deal? by the end of the flight I was on, I don't know who it was, but somebody was going crazy. I mean, it smelled crazy in there. I mean, this is a pressurized little tube that we're in. And for the last 15 minutes of the flight, it was just constant smell of fart. Just 15 minutes. And everybody's looking around like, what is going on here? Who's doing this? And I said, you know what? I felt bad because Maggie was getting on somebody I thought may have been sick or maybe dealing with an issue. I take it all back. Like, you're a clown. Go to the bathroom and just sit there for the rest of the ride. You can't do that.
It's a scourge on our society. Plain farters. They have no shame. They think they're not going to get found out. And to be honest, it is hard to pinpoint with everyone packed in like sardines.
And the first thing you got to do is you got to just note that it's happening so nobody thinks it's you. So like if you just pretend like nothing's happening, then everyone thinks it's you. So me and Andre are immediately looking around like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And the people across from us are looking around saying, oh, you smell that too. And I'm looking at the people who weren't doing anything, and I'm like, oh, it's one of you folks who are just acting like nothing's wrong here when we all smell the same thing.
Just casually moving around in their seats. Get some air.
Worst. Yeah, Maggie, you were right.
Well, thank you. I mean, I take no pleasure in that because, to be honest, I mean, we haven't made the problem go away.
Well, one thing, I mean, probably was still relieved that you actually landed, considering the state of American aviation.
Oh, there's that. There's that.
You're like, well, yeah, it smelled bad, but at least somebody told us where to land the plane.
Yeah, the radar was working.
It's crazy. Like, what did they eat on the plane? Like, the whole ride was fine. It was the last 15, 20 minutes. Right after I was listening to you, I was watching your show. And right after the show went off, well, I wasn't on the show those days. And right after the show was off, the last 15, 20 minutes, just farts the rest of the way. Couldn't believe it.
I think it's something about our diets are changing. Like, people are eating a lot of kale.
Definitely a lot of fiber happening. You eat too much fiber, that'll do it to you.
It's like it's getting out of hand. There you go. Your M&P 500. Knicks fans did not make it into the stock up, stock down because I'm not really sure. We're going to get to that next. 888-710-4ISN. Celebrating like you won the title when you only got to the Eastern Conference Final. Not only, but when you got to the Eastern Conference Final. I don't know how I feel about that. We're going to talk about it next. Also, this Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese rivalry. You here for it or are you getting sick of it? It's M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
He's on the chat, tuning in where it's at. Infinity Sports Radio, playing all morning. Dancing to the beat, feeling so right. The takes are loud, his speakers blast. He's a Twitch viewer, having a blast. The ball of his spin and the crowd's going wild. Glorious man, just feeling so alive. Radio play. Can't you hear the beat? It plays from afar. Glorious man, feeling the flow. Meet up a lofty, 5 days off in a row, but his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Back on the Maggie and Perloff show, his frown's as deep as ever. You know, Peter, why the grumpy face? 5 days of freedom, not a single trace of joy or laughter, just that familiar frown. Back on the air, bringing everyone down. We all week and no one gets time online. Still that grumpy mood he couldn't leave behind. 5 days off, but it's all the same. Back with the grumble, no one to blame. Peter, what his grumpy demeanor didn't let it show. Back on the Maggie and Perloff show, his frown's as deep as ever. You know, Peter, why the grumpy face? 5 days of freedom, not a single trace of joy or laughter, just that familiar frown.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Get to Bogusch's headlines in just a moment, but I'm talking about this Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese gets another little mini chapter, Pearl, in the rivalry on Saturday. Yeah. Fever blow out the Chicago Sky, but Caitlin Clark gets called for a flagrant foul on Angel, said it was just a basketball play. Angel clearly didn't see it that way in the moment. Going after Caitlin. Cameras are clearly rolling and soaking this up. But
she had to be held back.
Yeah. I can't tell, though, if these games just need some higher stakes for this rivalry to maintain its edge.
I think so. I think both teams need to be competitive. And even then, I still have an issue, and I don't think you do, that they don't guard each other and they're really different positions. Yeah, there's different styles, too. Angel is all about the rebounds, and Caitlin theoretically should be playing 10 foot beyond the three-point line.
There's also a part of this about who needs who. You know, we've heard a lot from fans this morning that it's like, you know, Angel needs Caitlin more in this. I'm going to be honest, like, I think rivalries are good for all sports. Yeah, Caitlin may be the better player right now, but I think that the rivalries always help add a layer of intrigue. And Angel's really famous in her own right. I don't think she's not going anywhere. She's doing McDonald's commercials. She's all over Instagram, podcast, the whole deal. She's like also a household name.
Yeah, see, I don't agree with that part. I think Caitlin alone can drive the WNBA ratings, for example. I think if the Indiana Fever got to the finals, that would be a huge deal. And honestly, Angel is very interesting. You're right, she's a big star, but I think part of that was playing off of Caitlin's meteoric rise. Because Angel was good,
right?
But she wasn't the primary player in the sport. I think she was in the right place at the right time.
I think it was a little bit more than that. That LSU team had the one that beat Caitlin in the national championship game. Then they met again in the Elite Eight. Caitlin's team won. But I just think that there was an edge to that team that was personified by Angel. You know, it was Kim Mulkey, it was Angel, Flau'jae Johnson. They just all had this like thing. And it was kind of Caitlin versus that whole team, but Angel was clearly the face of that team.
I think if there was no Caitlin in college basketball at the time, it would have rated just like the other finals right before it and right after it. Do you think it would have been, they would have exploded? Why were they more notable than South Carolina?
No, not taking away anything from Caitlin. I get it. She's the story. But Caitlin, South Carolina is not the same as Caitlin Angel.
Right. Yes, it is. I mean, it got 18 million viewers as compared to 9 million for LSU Iowa.
Okay, but now Caitlin's on a team with Aaliyah Boston, and who was her actual rival in those games? Like, it became a one-on-one kind of thing, even though they don't guard each other.
Well, my point is the ratings will be, if Caitlin makes it to the finals, it'll be set all kinds of records, obviously, for WNBA, but that if it doesn't need to be Angel or Caitlin, it just needs to be Caitlin.
Bogusch has headlines for us. What's up, Bogues?
Well, Maggie, your slump busters have lost their NHL mascot.
Greer left circle shot, save wall. Greer the rebound in front of Chance, and they score! Jonah Gadjevich makes it 3-0 Panthers. What effort in front of the net, and Jonah Gadjevich there to jam it in. The Panthers lead by a trio with 10:21 to go here in the second.
Doug Plagans on Panthers.
Tsunami, and you trying to get on my back.
It's a 3-goal second period, fueling a 6-1 Panthers win in Game 7 in Toronto. The Leafs bow out again with a second straight dud at home. John Tavares now on fans throwing their jersey on the ice in disgust.
Feel their disappointment. It's tough. Never want to see the jerseys on the ice, but we just didn't play well enough.
This franchise still hasn't seen the conference finals since 2002, still hasn't won a Stanley Cup since 1967, which is why the Leafs are likely headed for big changes this offseason.
I'm sorry, I feel like an idiot. Like, this is a long tradition of doing that?
That's new to me as well. It happened last night, and Ed Olczyk on TNT was angry. In fact, said people should be taken underneath the stands and beaten up for doing this.
Oh my goodness!
I can't remember people throwing angry jerseys on the ice.
You should pay a lot for those jerseys.
Which is funny because we hear about everything else getting thrown on the ice.
Yeah,
Octopi, rats, hats, obviously.
But I
nachos
feel like
one time.
You need your jerseys. I mean, you
not
can't.
if you're that upset. It's like burning the jersey, kind of.
I hear you, but what if they're in the playoffs again next year and you gave up that jersey? Feels like
getting to the playoffs
those
is not the
sweaters cost
problem.
a lot, man.
With the Maple Leafs, it's winning when you get there.
Yeah, Eddie O probably lost on journalism the day before.
Definitely a horse racing tie-in.
Yeah. The Panthers, meanwhile, in their third straight East finale, Game 1 in Carolina tomorrow night. The Thunder prepping for the T-Wolves after crushing the Nuggets 125-93 in their Game 7 in OKC. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has more games to play after 35 points.
Just trying to be where our feet are in the moment and see what's in front of us and try to attack it and come out on the right end of it. I think that's why we've gotten this far in the season, and we're going to continue to do so.
OKC flipped this game in the second quarter, outscoring the Nuggets 39-20, then ran away for good in the third. Game 1 of that Western Conference final is tomorrow night. Much like the Thunder, Scottie Scheffler left the competition in his dust yesterday. A 5-shot win at the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. It's the third major of Scheffler's career. The Yankees used a 6-1 eighth to take their rubber game with the Mets, 8-2 on Sunday Night Baseball. That explosion began with the tie-breaking run scoring on a Pete Alonso throwing error. It ended with a Cody Bellinger grand slam. The Mets, P.S., still have a better record.
You keep coping.
And finally, it's called The Traffic.
Just the facts.
It's called The Traffic, the best rivalry in MLS, the LA Galaxy and LAFC. El Tráfico.
El Tráfico.
Yeah,
Come on now.
No, I translated. They played to a 2-2 draw.
Because we would have had no idea what you were talking
El
about.
Tráfico, what?
Now we went to Mexico. I can confirm. I knew what that meant.
2-2 draw for these two LA clubs last night. It extends the Galaxy's season-opening winless stretch to 14 matches, including now 10 draws. This is the longest such stretch in league history.
That's the defending champions as well. So for them to go start the season winless, oof.
By the way, can I say you played Baby Theo Von? If that
I didn't play that. That was.
I watched an entire 10 minutes of a baby version of My Cousin Vinny, the movie, because the baby AI filters on social media, the two Ute scene and the babies, it'll blow your mind.
I ain't nobody floaty.
Yep.
Yeah.
We mentioned Princess Bride last
Princess
week
Bride.
too.
Basically,
Does the baby, my cousin Vinny go, my biological clock is ticking like this as a baby?
I don't think they had that scene.
They have it. You just haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
It's out there.
People were worried that AI was going to create these killer robots. What they didn't see was all the cute baby filters going on.
Except for Maggie.
Except for Maggie. Yeah.
I got Rachel and Ross baby AI on my TikTok algorithm.
I got that one too. Yeah. Yep. I got Chandler and Ross. You got Rachel and Ross?
I saw some Rachel. I saw some baby Rachel.
Still a hottie?
No comment.
Don't answer that. What
Really
about
trying
the
to
Manny?
I'm not trying to get put on a list
It's
right
not
there.
a real baby.
Yeah, well.
I body shamed Maggie's baby last week.
Did.
Yeah.
You did.
But
But that's because she was dressed like a middle-aged woman.
Easy with the middle-aged stuff.
The second I said that, I remember. Yeah, but that outfit was particularly. Looked like Hillary Clinton.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Another chapter of the Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese rivalry written on Saturday. Welcome to the show, Maggie. Great, Andrew Perloff. Lots happened over the weekend, Pearl, but I'll tell you what, I felt like the conversation for a while was really dominated by these two ladies. Obviously, Fever and Sky open up against each other. It's a hard foul. Caitlin fouls Angel. She says it's a take foul. Angel clearly didn't see it that way in the moment, kind of charges after Caitlin. The cameras are rolling. Everyone's eating this thing up. But year 2 now of their rivalry in the WNBA. Obviously, this started back in college. But I wonder if people are going to be this interested in the rivalry if the stakes aren't a little bit higher. This game was a blowout. They haven't played in a meaningful game against each other since college, going back to the LSU-Iowa days. Yeah, it's a season opener. There's a little extra attention, but doesn't this thing have to get to a playoff game or something like that for the rivalry to be more than just ancient history and actually bring it into the present?
No, I think that the Fever are going to blow right past this rivalry. I think it's going to be a thing of the past because I saw the game. It was the Fever are a much better team than Chicago. So I do not think you can have a rivalry where one team is competitive and one is not. And honestly, I don't think it matters at all to the health of the WNBA because I think this is the year. It's happening. It's kind of like the explosion in college basketball is now going to happen in the WNBA. And honestly, the explosion in my mind happens to Caitlin Clark, and that's exactly what's going to happen in the WNBA. So whether this rivalry continues or not is somewhat irrelevant to me.
I don't know. I'm not sure that so much that this is over. I'm not willing to declare Caitlin Angel is going to be a thing of the past. Yes, I would like them to play in bigger games, but Angel is a huge star. I mean, let's not pretend like she doesn't have her own following, her own fan base. There's an element to this that just always gets ugly, which is the worst part about it, where now the WNBA is investigating whether fans said racial things and were taunting Angel at all. That aspect of it, which we don't love, it obviously, though, gets a lot of attention. Don't love it. We hate it. We don't want to see this at all. But I guess, I'm not willing to say that it's now Caitlin v. the WNBA. It's going to be her against the Fever. It's going to be her against Fever, her against the Liberty, her against the Aces, her against Minnesota, whoever it's going to be, those better teams. I think it's still, there's always going to be a bit of a fascination about Angel and Caitlin because of how this origin story happened. And because Angel is not some shrinking violet. She's on McDonald's commercials. She's everywhere. So she's not going anywhere. So I think the rivalry will always hold a little something.
Yeah.
But the game's got to mean a little bit more and fast.
I know what you mean, but you're right. When Chicago plays Indiana, there will be a little extra sauce, definitely. But it really doesn't matter in the big picture. What could possibly happen this year with Caitlin Clark's team being competitive for a championship cannot be understated to me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I don't know what, I thought maybe this year was going to be more about the basketball and maybe for the Fever and them competing for a championship and maybe Caitlin wins an MVP or something like that. But I also do think that there's the league's on the brink of expansion. There's just still so much more here. You're saying this is the year. I don't know if necessarily this is the year. Also, it's not an Olympic year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, people have underestimated Caitlin's impact on ratings before when she was coming up in college. They did not know. They just didn't know. And I think if she gets to the finals and is an MVP, which, by the way, her stats are so incredible. She has a great chance to be MVP.
What's in one game?
Well, no, I mean, even last year, it just seems like the Fever want to play fast-paced basketball and rack up a lot of stats. She's already third all-time in triple-doubles, and it's clear that they're going to let her get a lot of numbers, which I think will help her get an MVP. I think if she's, again, this is a huge, huge if, but if she gets deep in the playoffs, I think it's going to be a massive W for WNBA. Yeah. I know what you're saying about expansion and stuff, but all you really need is Caitlin in the finals. Or, by the way, if Angel was in the finals too, that would have been good as well.
I'm saying,
but
this rivalry still matters. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that would be good. But still, Caitlin really is the driving force. I don't even think it's controversial at this point.
It's not that she's not the driving force, but rivalries help everything and everybody.
But they don't need them here with Caitlin. They really don't. She's on, I think, 35 of 40 games are in like primetime spots for them or national television. Maybe we'll get sick of her, but if she gets into the finals, it's kind of like Jordan or LeBron. Singular stars drive sports.
What did you think of what you saw? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Did you have a problem with the foul being called flagrant? And where do you see this Angel-Caitlin rivalry right now? Let's get to Aaron Rodgers.
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Well, for that, we turn to Tom Pelissero. NFL Insider, NFL Network was on the Rich Eisen show. He says the Steelers are operating like Aaron Rodgers is going to be QB1.
Pittsburgh, other than drafting Will Howard late in the draft, they've absolutely operated like a team that anticipates, maybe not knowing 100%, but anticipates that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a member of the Steelers and their starting quarterback come week one.
Okay, well, week one, a lot of time between now and week one. So what's been the delay for Rodgers? Here's Pelissero.
We also know this about Aaron. He's never liked off-season workouts. He showed up, for a lot of them back during his Green Bay days, but when it came to the collective bargaining negotiations in 2020, he was the loudest voice saying we shouldn't have to do anything until August 1st. There should be no voluntary stuff. There should be no mandatory minicamp. August 1st should be the start. He lost on that point because there just wasn't a lot of support for it, particularly because it didn't make sense for the union to leverage something that players already don't have to do.
Fair. Can you imagine guys showing up August 1st now when you don't even have two-a-days anymore? And the season starts like Labor Day, basically, right after?
Yeah, I mean, Brett Favre showed up in the Jets on August 7th, I believe. I think this used to happen. The guys used to just show up for training camp.
More from Pelissero, the timeline of Rodgers signing in Pittsburgh. Let's hear it.
Is it the week of minicamp? Is it the day after minicamp? Is it the week before training camp? Is it the day before training camp begins? Somewhere in that bandwidth, I believe. I don't know this for a fact, Rich, because we're talking about the enigma of the NFL here, but I anticipate Aaron Rodgers is going to end up committing to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that it's a matter of when, not if. He could wake up tomorrow and decide to go to Egypt for 3 months and put his football career behind him. I don't know that, but I would say all signs continue to point right now to Aaron Rodgers being the Steelers quarterback in 2020.
Okay, so we had Ian O'Connor on the show last week. Pearl wrote a book about Aaron Rodgers, and he said that he thinks the reason why Rodgers is going to play is because at this point it would be leaving Mike Tomlin out to dry, and that Rodgers has so much respect for Tomlin, he wouldn't go this far down the road and then pull the rug out from under the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, do you agree? I think they had a handshake agreement, and I think they don't want the press that the Jets got when Rodgers missed camp. So they just, if there was an absence, they didn't want him there and on the team, but not showing up at camp. So I think this is the agreement they reached. And again, like Pelissero says, he is an enigma. Feels like there is a behind the scenes agreement going on here because everything the Steelers have done is as if Rodgers is signing, and NFL teams don't operate on that basis, especially teams like the Steelers.
Right.
They wouldn't go, they were sitting there at 21. They sure weren't looking at a quarterback. They took Derek Harmon out of Oregon. So they have played the offseason like Rodgers is coming.
I'll agree with you there. My question, though, is can you afford to do this? Now, I understand that the season is long, and it feels even longer now with that 17th game. But, Rodgers is joining a new team, new offensive coordinator he's never worked with before, as far as we know. To just show up on August 1st, kind of think you can roll the footballs out and be on the same page, even if you've had one throwing session with DK Metcalf at UCLA like 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you're here to try to win a Super Bowl, number one. Why else are you here? And not for your health. So you're there to try, in theory, to win a Super Bowl, and you're trying to do it in a very abbreviated timeline. So to not show up now, I know he's got stuff in his personal life. That's all, real, and I totally get that. But to not show up for any of the OTAs, I don't know how you could get away with that and think you're going to get off to a good start.
I don't think the realistic goal is winning a Super Bowl. If he's 11, I think he just wants to get the Jets taste out of his mouth, or his performance with the Jets more. I think if he's 11-6 with the Steelers and has 35 touchdowns, he'll consider it a success, right? Is this a Super Bowl or bust situation? I mean, in theory, right, like nobody's going to kill Rodgers if he doesn't win a Super Bowl here. They haven't really been to the Super Bowl in a long time.
No, I know. Like, they lost to Rodgers the last time they were in the Super Bowl. I get that, but I don't know why else you'd be doing it. I guess you had to get the bad taste of the Jets out of everyone's mouth. But if you go to the playoffs and you lose again in the first round, then you're exactly like Mason Rudolph, and you're exactly like Russell Wilson and everyone else who came before you. You're not
I think
special.
I'll have way better numbers than those guys. That's his thinking.
Yeah, but the numbers don't always tell the story. His numbers with the Jets last year ended up being fine. No one thought that was a good performance. And if you look actually at the counting numbers, they were fine.
Yeah, I know. But
you're not fooling anybody.
But I don't think that the bar is Super Bowl in Pittsburgh, the realistic bar. Like, if Rodgers goes there, I just think he's not looking at the ideal situation. He probably, if he went to Minnesota, maybe. If he went to San Francisco, maybe. I just don't think Pittsburgh is a Super Bowl. Do you really? Do you think anyone's going to pick them? I mean, let's be real about that.
No, but that's a bummer then if I'm a Steeler fan. Because I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
it is what it is. I mean, it's not a bummer or not a bummer. You see that as an Aaron Rodgers away from a Super Bowl team, you'd be delusional.
No, but I get it. But then, who's this for? If it's not for a Super Bowl, it's for Mike Tomlin to keep a gaudy win-loss record. It's for to give your fan base hope and have it not be real. I just don't get it.
It's a big swing. I hear you. I mean, it's not ideal. Like, this team, the one thing that's good about it, short term, you know what? He'll be there a year or two, then you get to start over a quarterback.
Yeah, but
what's your better option?
But you play yourself out of a top pick potentially.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if Mason Rudolph gets him a top pick either. That guy seems to be right around 500 as a Steelers quarterback.
888-710-4ISN. Let's go to the phones. Billy is in Toronto, wants to weigh in on Caitlin and Angel and the Leafs bowing out to the Panthers. What's up, Billy?
Yeah, I'm just looking outside my window now. A lot of people on their roofs ready to jump. I mean, listen, I'll tell you something, guys, and even you can even put the Oklahoma City Denver game into that. I mean, how do Game 7 get badly beaten? I mean, the Leafs just, this is incredible for this market, for this team to 2 games in a row at home lose 6-1. I mean, it was an embarrassment. We get up 2-0 on this series. We're up 3-1 in their house to go up 3 games to nothing, and then Florida just said enough is enough. They blitzed us all over the arena. You know what this looked like? This reminded me of the Super Bowl when Philadelphia was sending a 4-man rush and just crushing Mahomes. They couldn't do nothing about it. The Leafs, for 10 minutes, could not get out of their own way. Mm-hmm. It was just embarrassing to watch this. It really is. We're out again, and they're going to make household changes. They have to.
Well, Billy, what do you think about the Leafs fans throwing beer, throwing jerseys onto the ice?
You know, for the longest time, we've been called corporate up here. It's always been the rich people that have had the tickets. I didn't like it at all. I never like it. I don't like that stuff. You're an idiot if you're spending $300 for these jerseys and throwing them on the ice. If I was there, I would have ran on the ice and grabbed them. I don't got to buy one. I mean, it was just, this is not your normal Leaf crowd. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you should ever do that in a game. But, the performance was just god awful. Guys, now listen, I want you to have your dump guy on hold here because I'm gonna hit a touchy subject here with Caitlin Clark. I hope you give me some rope and understand where I'm going here. But I was really turned off by one of the speeches this girl gave when I don't know if it was that she won the ESPY award or she won something, some whatever award she won. But she went up there and she was basically apologizing for being entitled. Basically, and I'm a white male, basically I thought she was apologizing for being white. I mean, for her to come out and say, I want to thank all the black girls that came before me. I get it. The league is majority black. But, hey, there's white girls out there too. And for you to you just seemed to me like you were apologizing for your race. This girl worked her ass off. She worked hard to get to be as great as she is.
Yeah.
That's why you're a great player, not because you're entitled. And that just really, really let me down with her. And
hold on, Billy. So a couple things. Paige Beckers has also said something like this, where she said, the league was built on the backs of black women. And not just black women, but built on the backs of black women to get acknowledged by that. So here's a question: do you have a problem with any person acknowledging any kind of privilege that they've had?
Yeah,
because you can always work hard. No one's saying that has anything to do with hard work. That's not what privilege is about, right? Privilege is about, do you get, do things break right for you in a way that's not luck, right? Yes, you work hard and the next person works hard, but you have like an inherent privilege, maybe because of the color of your skin, maybe because your gender, maybe because your socioeconomic status. Do you believe that exists at all in the world?
Oh, I definitely believe it. I definitely believe it exists. But you're talking to a guy that's interracially married. My wife is from Hong Kong. I have 7 brothers and sisters. We're all interracially married. Not one of us is married to a white person. When we sit down and have conversations, we're not afraid to talk about race, as some people are. We talk about it. We're open about it. And as long as you're not saying something bad, and just say, well, this is what I noticed this race does or that race does. Because I will tell you something. All you got to do is go to Harvard University. All you got to do is go to the University of Toronto here in Canada, and you're seeing Asian women and Asian men with 100% marks in high school, and going in and they can't get. There's a big lawsuit at Harvard University.
Yeah. But discriminating against the Asian population. No, Billy, I mean, listen, you're talking about, and thank you for the phone call, you're talking about something much bigger here. I don't know if I didn't have a problem with Paige saying it. I didn't have a problem with Caitlin saying it, acknowledging that there is privilege there. I didn't think she was taking away from herself. She knows she works hard.
I mean, do we really have space to explore all the angles of this? Because this is a huge issue with the presidency and the entire, I don't want to call it a war against DEI, but like this is a much, much bigger issue. Basically, the current administration wants to pull back all the DEI rules, which were not all perfect by any means either. I mean, it's a very, very nuanced debate. It's really hard to have.
Well, especially because we think that like sports is this great equal, like this, it's everything's equal all the time, and it's all about just your ability. But there is something beyond that too when we're talking about opportunities that people get off the court and things like that.
Well, I think the funny thing about Caitlin, I mean, obviously she's a white superstar. Right. I mean there's a movie called Great White Hype with Peter Berg. You ever seen that? Mm-hmm. Where they're desperately trying to get a white boxing champion. Yep. And it's Samuel L. Jackson is unbelievably funny at it. It's just, white superstars selling sports. Is anybody going to deny that? So I think that's a factor in here. So Caitlin was acknowledging that, I think. Not saying necessarily that it's very complicated, but I mean, if Caitlin wasn't white, would she be this popular? I mean, EJ, you could answer that. What do you think?
No, definitely not.
Because you said the other day on air, like Cooper Flagg has a certain amount of value as a white superstar.
Absolutely, and because there's a novelty, right? There's a novelty to seeing a young, just like there's a novelty to Steph Curry, who's not even white. He's a black guy, but seeing some light-skinned, 6'3", skinny dude running around shooting threes over these guys who are much taller, much faster, much more athletic. Of course, there's novelty to that. Caitlin Clark being little, young, not little, but smaller white girl than the other girls on the court,
right,
running around shooting threes like she's Steph Curry. There's novelty to that, and
Right.
it's not bad. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong to admit that there's a novelty that gravitates to people that people get inspired by. Like it's nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's people get like so upset about even acknowledging that that's a fact, but it is. I think people saw that and was like, wow, we've never seen this before. And that's what makes it very interesting.
Do you guys remember, the Isaiah Thomas, Larry Bird? I watched a documentary on that the other day, which is kind of crazy to me. Isaiah and somebody else. No, Isaiah confirmed a statement that Larry Bird would not be considered such a good player if he was.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman had initially said it.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
they asked Isaiah about it in the locker room, and he kind of laughed. It was like, I mean, it was a good point, I guess. And then that story went crazy.
Yeah.
Right, they had a press conference about it, right?
That was so over the top, saying Larry Bird wouldn't be good. Like, he wouldn't be considered a great player which was obviously Dennis Rodman being over the top. So this, you have to remember, and you know this actual discussion goes back 50 years and has been a huge part of sports. And I am seeing the quotes. Caitlin Clark was very direct in addressing this.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the speech he was talking about, it was a Paige Becker speech from the ESPYs in 2021. So this is not unfortunately, with social media, they post things as if they were yesterday. But this was an old speech where she said,
it got reposted.
Where she said, the light I have now as a white woman who leads a black-led sport celebrated here. I want to shed a light on black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to the sport, the community, and society as a whole, and its value is undeniable.
Yeah, I've seen Caitlin had a very similar speech, too.
I think it was her Time Person of the Year, right?
Yeah.
888-710-4ISN. Not trying to move off this conversation, but Mike Silver set to join us next. He's been covering the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers. Best friends with Steve Kerr. Mike Silver, cool guy, award-winning journalist, will join us next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Perloff Show. Lots of news this weekend that we wanted to get the thoughts of one of our absolute favorites. He's the author of the new book, The Why is Everything. Could be good for Father's Day if you're looking for something. He's also a national columnist for The Athletic, but of course, based out of the Golden State. That is Mike Silver, good enough to join us this morning. Mike, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
I'm awesome. I'm in your amazing city, so it's good to be on your time zone for once.
I know. Well, watch out for falling Knicks fans, as I said. They're all over the place. They're up on light posts and everything, so just be careful.
They deserve it.
When I saw the Brock Purdy news, I thought of you because, you're so plugged in with the 49ers. And, now that this deal is signed, and I understand why the 49ers wanted to get this done quickly, did the 49ers overpay for Brock Purdy? I know it's a simple question. Maybe he doesn't have a simple answer.
Well, in their mind, they didn't. So, Kyle Shanahan had decided before Christmas of 2022 that Brock Purdy was his long-term guy, and obviously had that incredible 2023 season, nearly won a Super Bowl, leveled off a little bit last year with fewer weapons, and really, when he tries to do too much, that takes away from what makes him good. So in their mind, they paid market value for a guy they want to have going forward. It was a win in a different way for them because as good as they've been organizationally during the Shanahan-Lynch era, they've been really, really bad at getting contracts done at the right time. Many of them have dragged on, from Kittle a few years ago, Deebo Samuel, both a couple of years back, and then infamously last year with Brandon Ayuk and Trent Williams that kind of blew up their summer. So with a quarterback, it's even more important. They took some hits in terms of losing some big names, a few months ago. This is a nice win for the organization, just that we're talking about it before Memorial Day is being done.
Mike, did you see that sort of rant by Chris Sims, NBC Sports, former NFL quarterback, saying Brock Purdy's not considered a top 10 quarterback by anybody, and sort of implying that he's great with Shanahan, but on an open market, let's say all 32 NFL teams, they don't view him like a top 10 guy. What do you think of that?
I mean, I think it depends who they are, right? And I know Chris and Kyle are very, very close, so, it's an interesting thing to hear from Chris, who's always good, but in my opinion, it depends. I know a lot of people, and some of them are in that Shanahan-McVay world that, thank you, Maggie, I documented in The Why is Everything, which is an awesome book and is the perfect Father's Day gift with Father's Day coming up. But, I've talked to some people who are like, yeah, he's elite. He's really, really, he's not going to be a Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes guy who can just single-handedly make epic plays and pull you out of things, but he's right behind that. And then there are other people who, in a vacuum, would say, well, I'll take Trevor Lawrence over Purdy, for example, first overall pick, taller, better arm, better pedigree. So there is a debate about that, but I don't think it really matters. I mean, I think we'd all agree that Christian McCaffrey with Kyle is greater than Christian McCaffrey with most play callers, schemers. What he could do in Kyle's offense, the multiplicity, the showing one formation and turning it into another because he's such a weapon in the passing game. And Devo was another example of that the other way around. So to me, Christian McCaffrey is the classic example of a guy who's worth even more in that offense. So that doesn't make Purdy unique.
Mike Silver is joining us. He's a national columnist for The Athletic. We mentioned the why is everything. I want to hit a couple things with you, Mike, but a little bit more on the 49ers here. So you mentioned, the thing about Brock is that when he tries to do too much, sometimes it can go off the rails a little bit. And obviously they finished in last place in the NFC West this past year because of injuries, and just everything that could go wrong did go wrong for the 49ers. So I don't want to put it all on Brock, but I'm curious, you get paid like this, and yeah, he's not in the conversation with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, but now money-wise, he is. So I'm curious, can he avoid that instinct to try to do too much, Brock, that is? And two, how's the fan base? Can you take the temperature of the 49ers fan base on, now it just becomes harder for any team to build a Super Bowl champion when your quarterback's taking up a significant amount of your salary cap?
Yeah, great questions, a lot to unpack. And, first of all, I would say Brock Purdy, last year, because the NFL, okay, let me start with the money. He's the most underpaid guy in NFL history thus far because of the stupidity of the rookie wage scale, which I can't believe the NFLPA agreed to under duress in 2011. And reduces market value, because I hate the draft anyway, don't get me started. But if you're going to have a draft and make people play somewhere, they used to get kind of market value. Now they get way below. So if you're the last pick in the draft and you turn out to be fourth in the MVP voting in year 1.5, you are the most underpaid person ever. So yes, he's paid a lot now, but they ripped him off for 3 years. Don't get me started. It is a fair question. Now, by the gift of the NFL, because they finished last year, they have a schedule that I've been kind of, and you never know, but I've been kind of laughing at since I saw the opponents, and I saw that it was rated actually the easiest schedule in the NFL going in. So they have a schedule that screams bounce back, but they did lose a lot of people. So yes, they were in that magic window where they had the quarterback on the rookie deal and they could load up around him. The initial idea was that it was going to be Trey Lance. That was a disaster, but Purdy bailed them out. That window's over. They've paid Purdy, though the cap hit early on is relatively okay. But what happened was they came so close to winning that Super Bowl after the 2023 season that it delayed by a year a lot of those hard decisions. They loaded up and said, let's go all in one more time, and they overextended. Ayuk would be a classic example, but they basically just staved off some tough decisions, and this year they made a lot of those decisions. They're trying to get younger, faster, et cetera, et cetera. But yes, that's a long way of saying yes, Maggie. There is more on Purdy, and he does have to resist the compulsion to try to play hero ball that I think every quarterback fights.
I went to quick left turn, Mike, because you were embedded in the Jaguars draft room, and you mentioned you hate the draft as a concept.
You and Caleb Williams' dad.
Yeah, exactly.
I was wondering the draft.
What's your take on Shedeur Sanders' fall? I don't know. Were people in Jacksonville chattering about that? I know they drafted his teammate, Travis Hunter. How did you see that fall go down to the 5th round?
Yeah, I was in the war room for 2 days, so I was, everybody was very aware of it and invested in it. They view themselves as a team that just wasn't looking for a quarterback, so they kind of maintained a healthy distance and kind of processed it a lot like I did. And I don't know that they had Shedeur Sanders rated that high. They didn't do a lot of work, but there was a lot of sympathy in that room. Like, man, this is brutal for the kid. It's going on a long time. Who's going to take him? And I think What was weird to me was the weird pleasure some people seem to be taking in a kid's dream being crushed in real time, and B, this notion that, this cocky kid's going to learn his lesson and learn about how to enter the NFL. So I didn't like any of that. I saw what he did in college. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I know Deion really well. I'm sure the kid was raised with proper values. Is he high on his own abilities? Well, gee, that would be certainly unique for a quarterback who had a lot of success in college. Wouldn't want a quarterback with any swag. I mean, the other kid from, I think, Ohio State was saying he was the best quarterback in the draft, and nobody seemed to think he needed to be taught a lesson, though he didn't have a great draft either. But bottom line is, I don't know that there's as much mean-spiritedness in the league as there was in outside circles. Clearly, something on the film and something in the interviews set some people off in a way that made them not want him. I do think there are a lot of people rooting for him, and especially after, turns out people were talking about entitlement in relation to Shedeur, and I love Jeff Ulbrich, but I'm sure there are people out there now saying, well, what's the entitlement of a coach's kid who's making that prank phone call and putting it on the internet? So I just hope that we can all move past it, and it turns out that Shedeur has a nice NFL career. And by the way, the Browns could use any quarterback doing well in any way at any time ever. So it could align nicely.
Yeah, it's either going to go really well or it's going to go really bad, but maybe he can find another team. Mike Silver is joining us. The Why is Everything is his book. He's a national columnist for The Athletic. Mike, just sticking on the Jags, because you were there, they made the blockbuster trade for Travis Hunter, who's going to be one of the most interesting players to watch this upcoming season. We had put out a poll question right after about, do you think the Jags are going to get the most out of Travis Hunter? And overwhelmingly, the results were no. Now, that's a unscientific poll, obviously. It's just Twitter. But, you mentioned Christian McCaffrey was different with the 49ers than he was with the Panthers, and guys landing in the right spot is imperative. Did you get the sense that the Jags, who kind of cycled through coaches and GMs lately, Shad Khan is he's no stranger to a coaching search. Let's put it that way. Do you think they are the right team to get the most out of Hunter?
Well, there is some stuff to be excited about there, and I did get to watch them work, and it was cool. But, first of all, they obviously went out and got Liam Cohen because they believe that is the way to unlock Trevor Lawrence and, have that McVay tree magic rub off, in general. And they talked to Ben Johnson. They weren't ready to pay him sight unseen, which was the deal, and the Bears went for it, which, the Bears have their own issues, as my friend Seth Wickersham has since revealed. But they're really excited about Liam Cohen. James Gladstone's a young GM. I got to watch work. He wants to get after it. He's not shying away. And then Tony Baselli, who I've known since he was a brash rookie, who was part of that audacity. So let's take this back. Remember, the original Jags came into the league like the Panthers, and people were like, oh, they're an expansion team. Eye roll. In year two, each team was in the conference championship game, and the Jags specifically, who hosted it 3 years later, they went into Denver, beat that great Mike Shanahan, John Elway team, murdered them in the playoffs, just took them apart when they were the number one seed. The Broncos won the next two Super Bowls. That was part of that great era. So I think there's a little bit of that audacity maybe coming back into the building with Baselli. As far as Hunter, I would say this. They drafted quietly a receiver, Brian Thomas, last year, who came in and was a exceedingly impressive rookie. And now on offense, which is going to be Hunter's main area of focus starting out, now you've got a talented guy coming in like Hunter opposite someone who's already been super productive. So it gives you a lot of excitement there internally. They believe in Trevor Lawrence. I think it's fair to say that around the league, there are a lot of people who are very much on the fence, but kind of like how we started this conversation, what I said about Kyle Shanahan and the Niners and Purdy, they are all in on Trevor. They think he's the guy.
Very cool. Mike, you go way back with Aaron Rodgers. Both proud Cal alums, probably watching softball as we speak. Highlights. So it's May 19th.
We could still keep watching.
It's May 19th. What do you predict for the rest of the offseason for Aaron Rodgers?
It's interesting because, there seems to be this sense out there that the Steelers understand and he understands that, like, don't worry, this is going to happen. But, I'm one of those people who believes that until something happens, it's hard to count on it. And it's not like the Steelers have had some incredible plan B. I think in normal times, a team like the Steelers with Rodgers would say, hey, look, man, we got to know before the draft, or we got to know at this point. But how are they going to say that to Aaron Rodgers? Like, hey, man, we got to know, or else we're going Mason Rudolph, or we're going to go get, whoever they could go get. I think, the Steelers don't have a great other option. Diana Rossini and Alec Lewis and I reported, in March that the Vikings were very far down the road in considering Aaron Rodgers. It was a topic of conversation between Rodgers and Kevin O'Connell. And in the end, they basically said, we're going to give J.J. McCarthy the spring. And if you're still out there waiting, maybe it'll happen. So, I do think Rodgers, the longer he waits, the longer he possibly keeps that option open. I think retirement is a consideration. I think, things change, other quarterbacks get hurt, et cetera, et cetera. It does seem at this point like it's going to happen in Pittsburgh, but, I'm not one of those like, hey, it's close, like, hey, it's going to happen. It either happens or it doesn't. And I don't have anything to report in terms of it happening right now.
Mike, can't tell you how much we appreciate this. Enjoy your time in New York. And again, The Why is Everything is the newest book. Doing a great job, obviously, with The Athletic and just killing it on that draft coverage all around. You guys were awesome.
Well, I'm so stoked to be on with you guys on your time zone. Thank you for the Cal softball plug, by the way. Eventually, soon enough, the Golden Bears will be back in their rightful perch in the softball world. They're getting a new stadium built. Had a nice run this season, come to an inglorious end in Oklahoma, which happens. And, I appreciate the help on the book. Everyone's going to love The Why is Everything, and especially Dad.
By the way, Silver is not a Johnny-come-lately on women's softball, which is very popular right now. He's been talking to me about this sport for 2 decades. So, yes.
Planted the flag early, Mike. That's so like you. You see the trends before they get here. That's why you do what you do. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. He loves softball, as everybody does now. There was a point on Saturday, there might have been 3 women's softball games. Like half of ESPN covers women's softball. I'd love it because the infielders are so close. It is visually one of my favorite sports. Go Bears.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when I was picking a college football team?
No,
because I went to GW and they don't have a college football team. So I was picking one. And Cal really put the full court press on me.
Yes, that was great gear.
The mascot did a personalized dance for me. I got all this Cal stuff now. I wear it around and people are like, go Bears. I'm like, go Bears.
You didn't pick Cal?
Picked Oregon. No, I did pick Cal. I picked Cal first. They won 2 games, I think, and I realized that maybe we weren't a good pair.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We weren't a good pair.
Me and Marshawn, not same.
Yeah.
I didn't do as much for the program as Lynch or Mike Silver.
Yeah, they haven't had a winning record since 2018 or 19. Yeah.
Flip side, Marshawn Lynch did drive a cart all around the field, and that was really cool.
The fact that that's the coolest thing that happened in Cal football since the band is on the field, not good.
And they had Aaron Rodgers. That's crazy.
By the way, Marshawn Lynch is like starring in a movie. Have you guys been seeing these commercials?
Actor.
He's like the 3rd guy on the billboard.
He's been a character in Westworld. He was great. He's really good. Yeah, no, I know that movie you're talking about.
He's like on the marquee. This isn't a cameo or anything like that.
Yeah, I saw that. What is the movie? We got to look it up.
What's his range, do you think, as an actor?
Not very far, probably. He probably has to kind of play himself.
What if he comes out with like a British accent or something? Be like, whoa.
He was pretty good in the cameo on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Pretty good stuff out of Marshawn.
Was he good?
Oh, the best. Very Marshawn. Talking about Taco Bell, if I'm not mistaken, actually.
How about a lead in a rom-com for Marshawn Lynch?
See, I'm going to say, like, what is, he can play, gritty football player. That we get. He can play Skittles fanatic. Can he do Shakespeare?
Can he pull off one of these, though?
My name is Jeff.
Can he be Channing Tatum? Not many
none
people
of us can be Channing Tatum.
Not many. Can't do that many sit-ups. 888-710-4ISN. Okay, we will get to Bogusch's headlines and also Giannis in a fun Ask Me Anything. What's his City that he loves to visit the most?
We'll find out.
That will surprise you. Next.
Snitches get stitches.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You missed our interview with Mike Silver, talking all things Brock Purdy, also Aaron Rodgers. That was interesting. I like what Mike had to say, which is that he had reported with Diana Rossini and Jeff Howe that they were going to keep the door open in Minnesota into the spring. So I'm not saying that Rodgers is holding out for Minnesota, but that idea was out there, and he's still not signed with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I just don't think they have enough time to evaluate J.J. McCarthy in the spring. So they've already had camps. That feels like a long shot. And even the way Silver said it, too, he didn't sound like it was imminent, just to be clear.
Right. But that was on the table not that long ago. Bogusch is here with the latest headlines. What's up?
Guys, it appears that Juan Soto missed his train to his first Subway Series as a Met.
3-2 the count to Soto. 2-2 here in the fifth. Fried deals. Swing and a miss, strike three. Got him with a fastball, and that retires the side.
Howie Rose on Mets radio. Soto 0 for 4 with 2 Ks last night. 1 for 10 with 4 Ks for the weekend. He's in a 1 for 20 slump with runners in scoring position.
Is that bad?
Manager Carlos Mendoza unconcerned by the weekend struggles.
Today was pretty much the only game that we didn't see results. But the past couple of games, he was on base, half of the at-bats, couple of walks, hitting balls over 100. You just got to give credit to their pitching staff, especially guys like Fried today.
Max Fried King 8 over 6. This was a 2-2 game through 7.5. Then the Yankees scored 6 times in the bottom of the 8th and won 8-2.
That was fun, huh, guys?
Manny, shut up. The Mets play at Fenway tonight. Red Sox manager Alex Cora is skipping that game because his daughter is graduating from Boston College today.
Who the bleep is Manny Rodriguez?
Seriously. A little hockey history last night in Toronto. Veteran winger Brad Marchand, a goal and 2 assists, to lead the Panthers to a 6-1 win over the Leafs in Game 7. Marchand now 5-0 against the Leafs in do-or-die games, something no other player ever can say. This win following 4 with the Bruins.
If you actually historically look at the games, I didn't play well. It wasn't me that beat them. It was our team, and our teams have always been really deep and good. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of a really, really deep team here right now.
The Panthers in their 3rd straight Eastern Conference final, Game 1 with Carolina tomorrow night.
I hate Manny.
Yesterday's first Game 7 wasn't close either. The Thunder stampeding the Nuggets 125-93 to reach their first Western Conference Finals since 2016. It begins tomorrow in OKC against the T-Wolves. NFL owners meet tomorrow and Wednesday in Minneapolis. The anti-tush-push proposal expected to get a few tweaks before those owners vote on it at these meetings. It's still unclear just how much support the ban has.
Tweak what? A left cheek? What are you tweaking?
The rule, you mean?
They're changing, I think, the wording of.
Yeah, I don't think it's. By the way,
it
was. Everyone said it was going to report through. Apparently, the Eagles, I saw Florida reporting, been working overtime the last month to get the league, and I don't think it's passing for whatever reason.
They need 24 votes. That's a lot.
Yeah.
To ban it.
To ban it because then.
I don't know why you care so much. You can just execute a QB sneak. Jalen Hurts has always been able to squat 600 pounds. It's going to work.
Totally agree with you. Actually, I don't care about the tush push. I don't want them to ban all pushing and pulling because that happens so much. There's going to be 800 more flags. By the way, I have a take. The NFL cannot expand its rule, and I know they want to. They got to stop expanding this rule book. They're going to Spain and Brazil. People don't understand the sport at all already. They keep on complicating it every year.
They
got to
understand
pull
it
back
in Green
rules.
Bay and Pittsburgh, let alone in Madrid and wherever they're playing.
I mean, if I have to see another touchdown called back because a lineman was blocking 6 yards downfield instead of 5, so just stop with the rules. Let them do whatever they want.
Because, Pearl, you like this name so much, Boogie Fland expected to visit Florida today. The former Arkansas guard's now the biggest name in the transfer portal after backing out of the NBA draft process. Messi and Inter Miami shut out by Orlando City yesterday 3-0. They've now dropped 5 of their last 7 matches.
That's
and the Minnesota Lynx are 2-0 in the young WNBA season after an 89-75 win at the LA Sparks last night. Guys, back to you.
Bogusch, thank you so much. Amazing. If you miss any part of the show, you can always catch the podcast, Maggie and Perloff Pod, wherever you get your pods. 5-star reviews are a small thing that helps us quite a bit, if you would be so kind. Also, the free Odyssey app, you can download it. Manny labels all the chapters. You can go right to your favorite spots and listen. We're on SiriusXM channel 375, and of course our incredible affiliates. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we're going to need some money, by the way, to get into these conference finals. $703 is the get-in price. The Knicks pays top of thing.
That's the nosebleeds?
That's the easiest get-in.
Blue seats for $700?
Yikes.
You can fly down to Oklahoma City and get it back.
Thank you. EJ Stewart, welcome back. Manny Rodriguez, Andrew Bogusch, Andrew Kaplan, the Weedos.
You're in a 5-minute break.